Hi, we are here live in New Orleans for the College Women's Eastern and Western semifinals. It's a beautiful day for some sailboat racing. The breeze is up. The sun is out and the racing is sporty. I'm Jackson Benvenuti and I'm joined here with Parker Purrington.
Purrington.
Sorry about that. Parker, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name's Parker Purrington. I grew up in Virginia Beach, Virginia. I'm now a junior at Old Dominion University, and happy to be here supporting the Lady Monarchs and having a good time out here. Beautiful day, good wind. Couldn't ask for more.
Nice, nice. And you just sailed the co-ed nationals, right?
Yep. Our
Beautiful.
team was over there. I didn't get any time, but I was there supporting, so it's always good.
Wonderful. Awesome. So you know what it's like out there on the beautiful Lake Pontchartrain. It's usually pretty choppy, can be light, but today we have great breeze, and it's fairly flat water except for maybe out near the starting line where they're a little bit further offshore. And we have, I think, a race, what is it here, 11?
11A.
11A.
The
about to
FJs
start,
in the
right?
Eastern
Yeah.
semifinals.
11A is about to start, and we have, what race is going around the weather mark
This
here?
should be 11A for the Western.
Gotcha. And the 420s with the Angry Wave, right?
Yep.
So that's the Western with the Angry Wave on the sails, rounding the weather mark. So who's that in boat 3, Parker?
Up there in boat 3 in the Western. Pull that up. That is MIT. boat
MIT
3.
rounding in second. Really tight racing up here at the top. It's really shifty as you get closer to land. The breeze is up and down in velocity changes and also very shifty, which makes for some kind of chaotic racing at the top, and they're all very close, as you can see. A lot of opportunities for possible fouling, so trying to keep your nose clean going around that weather mark is pretty key. Looks like there's a boat doing some circles right now. Pretty common to not get through there unscathed. So if you're just joining us here, currently on the race that we're on in the 420s here, overall we have Harvard leading the regatta, right, with 101 points. Stanford in second with 110. The Brown Bears in third with 116. MIT in fourth with 124 points. Dartmouth in fifth with 125. Jacksonville in sixth with 127. That's pretty tight racing there between 4 and 6th. Seventh is Georgetown with 166 points, and tied with Georgetown for 7th is St. Mary's with 166. And the last team currently qualifying right now in 9th place is Hobart Williams Smith, Statesman, with 167. And so what's going to be interesting here to focus for on this regatta is the boats that are right here on the bubble, right? So the boats that are just hanging on inside the top 9 and just outside the top 9. And so there's only a few points really separating, I'd say 8th through 11th. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see how it plays out for the, Georgetown, St. Mary's, Hobart, Charleston Cougars, Michigan Wolverines, and then George Washington is in 12th. Following them is Vermont, then Connecticut, Fordham, Hawaii, Rhode Island, and UC Santa Barbara. This race is pretty spread out at the front of the fleet there, isn't it, Parker?
Yeah, it sure is. With the way these puffs are coming through, when one person's going to be the farthest out to the correct side, and so far it's been usually the left, they get the furthest out or right into that perfect piece of pressure that really winds them up, and they're able to get that separation, and then they can kind of just play the fleet the rest of the race and kind of just keep extending.
Yeah, it's a great illustration right now on the shot here of the puffs that are coming off the land. You can see the big hole near land, and the fleet's sailing in a pretty nice puff going downwind right now. So sometimes you're in the breeze and sometimes you're not. That's the name of the game today, is trying to pick your lanes through the largest part of the puff and trying to keep the bow pointed at the mark, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely gets windier as we get away from the land down as we get down to the leeward gate.
And a little more stable since that pressure has time to spread out
Good
across the
point.
water.
Yep, absolutely. So they're finishing down here right now. Going to be a tight finish in the middle of the pack there.
Sure is.
It's a real knife fight, I bet. Here comes the moment of truth for a lot of teams in this race. Are you going to get across some boats to get ahead of them right at the finish, or are you going to get the other side of the stick? It's always great. It's a pretty common and awesome thing you see in college sailing, on multiple boats being overlapped going into the finish like that. You know, it's a game of inches. A few feet could be the difference between 4 or 5, point spread. You got to fight for every inch and every point.
Really
it's a
do.
long regatta, no throwouts.
Especially an event like this,
Yeah.
where competition is so steep all around.
Absolutely, and you mix that with the conditions that we have, which can be kind of wacky at times with the shifts and the puffs and everything, and it's hard to keep it all going. I know if I was sailing today after 2 races in these conditions, my head would be spinning for a little bit, trying to keep it all together. Yeah,
for sure. I think it's really important for everyone that's out there, especially with conditions like this, is each set you go in with a completely fresh mindset of, what happened last set happened and what it could happen again, but I've got to really focus on what I'm seeing on the water, what's coming down, and how can I use that to my advantage.
Right. Yeah, definitely keeping your eyes upwind all the time in a day like today. Chutes and ladders. All right. So what race are they setting up for here? It looks like we're about to go. It looks like we might be in sequence here for the FJs, right?
Yeah. Should be 12A.
12A.
Or no, they have. I guess the FJs haven't done the first race yet. So it should be 11A.
11A starting up here.
Yep.
For the Western the Eastern semifinals.
Eastern. FJs in the Eastern.
Correct. All right. Trying to kind of guess what the time of the start is here. It looks like boats are starting to get on their final approach. Maybe. A lot of boats on starboard, if we zoom out a little bit. Yeah, they're definitely approaching the line here. We go to the right a little bit. There we go. There we are. Probably under 30 seconds if I was a guessing man, which I am a lot of the time.
I mean, being a good sailor takes good guesswork.
Yeah,
sometimes.
got to play the odds, right? Jibs are coming in. It looks like they're about to be off. I would say the start's probably in the next 5 seconds. That's probably it right there. There we go. And they're off. Race 11A. Eastern Women's Semifinals, College Nationals. So right now, you just start the race, Parker, and it's paramount to make sure you're going fast. You're trying to beat the one boat to leeward and the one boat to weather of you, but you're also in this condition really have to be focusing upwind, right?
Yeah.
Like it's pretty hard to do both of those things.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
Really key to make sure you're going in the right direction to the next breeze line, and knowing whether you're headed or lifted off the start line, right?
Yeah, I think that's why it's important to realize you got 2 heads in the boat that can work at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So divide those jobs up. Someone's really in the boat, usually whoever's driving, really focused on sail trim and the feel of the boat and just how you're moving through the water, while you have hopefully someone in the front of the boat that's being more of a tactician and are able to say, okay, here's the layout. We've got puffs coming down the left side. Looking like we've got good height on the boat above us, good speed, stuff
Hopefully.
like that. Yes,
Hopefully it's the good
hopefully it's
things.
all the good
But
things.
it's just as important, or more important, to tell the guy who's in charge of the boat speed when it's going poorly, so you
Yeah.
can make an adjustment,
Yeah,
right?
right. Looks like
Yep.
our heading's not as good. Okay,
Yep.
well maybe we need to adjust. I need to
Right.
trim more or something like that.
Yep.
You know.
Or get on the other tack or
Yep.
whatever. Yep. So it looks like the breeze has moderated a little bit. It's been kind of pulsing up and down. We saw some really strong breeze about 30 minutes ago, and it kind of moderated, and I bet you it's going to come back.
For sure.
A lot of
Doing that all day.
a lot of the wind around here is probably being dictated by these cells that are probably starting to pop up around wonderful New Orleans, the giant hot swamp that it is.
Yep.
Inland of us a little farther south. And this time of year here, it's really common. It's almost like there'll be a squall, usually not over the lake, but over the city at around 2 to 3 every day. It's somewhere in the city, and that really has a major effect on the wind patterns. So.
Right.
Here we go. Yeah. All right. So if you were racing right now, Parker, where would you want to be? I think the boats we're looking at right now are on the left side of the course.
Yeah.
Kind of in the middle, right? That big pack right there in the middle.
I'm
Seeing
liking
boat
what
10,
this,
6, 4, 9, 11, 17.
I'm liking what this blue boat is doing, getting across while they can. I think on data like today, you really want to protect the inside, in between the marks, putting yourself in between your opponents and the marks.
Yep. Gotcha. Let's refresh the scores here. So the boats to really be on the lookout for here that are on the bubble, we have Pennsylvania. Do you know what boat they're in right now? The Quakers? Well, they're a little bit ahead of 8 and 9 with it 148 to 184. But Coast Guard is in 8th with 184. South Florida is in 9th with 194. Tufts with 196. So we're looking for the Coast Guard, the Bulls, and the Jumbos.
Penn is in 6.
All right.
Coast Guard's in 5.
Gotcha.
And who else did you say?
Tufts.
Tufts. Tufts is in 3.
3. Gotcha. There's boat 5 there. Let's see how they're doing. Oh, there's 3 as well. So those guys are kind of in the middle of the course. Boat 8's looking not bad right now. Let's see how they play out when they get to the boats coming out of the left side. Once again, looks like it's going to be really tight up here at the top. These teams have been training all year. They're all really good. And they're still managing these really puffy and shifty conditions and ending up at the weather mark at the same time, more or less.
So it had been trending that the people that were winning the left were usually the first to the mark, but boat 8 came out of the right.
They
Not
sure
super
did.
far right, but came out of the right, and they're looking like they're in first here. So looking like it might be a little bit more open of a course on this race.
Yeah, I think it's important to be patient and play the side that you're on sometimes too.
Definitely. Definitely.
Try to cross boats when you can. Cross boats in pressure.
Five, 3, and she's for Tufts, right? 3.
Gotcha. Here they are, rounding the weather mark.
Yep, in boat 8, that's
Here.
Yale first.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Then Tufts in 2nd and 3.
And here, this is pretty common in college sailing. You have 1 or 2, 3 boats that kind of get out in front and are able to kind of the rich get richer sort of deal, and everybody else is fighting it out in the middle of the pack. Really tight there. 4, 5, 6 boats rounding the marks, overlapped. Once again, somebody didn't make it through fully unscathed, doing some circles there. So another thing that we might not be able to see on the screen right now, but we can see it from where we're sitting, is the other fleet is coming upwind, and that's another thing that you have to manage in a course like this, is making sure you're not getting tangled up with the other boats. It's easier than you think, especially in the shifty and puffy conditions, because a boat that wasn't aiming at you a second ago could be the next second. Yeah. There's Yale looking really comfortable in that race right now. They are in 2nd currently overall with 86 points, chasing the Boston College Eagles with 78. Boat 7 and 3, who does that look like? Looks like 3 might be the Jumbos. The Navy in boat 4 there. Oh, there's an interesting thing about the Navy sailor. Let's see. I've got a note here that says there's a Naval Academy sailor, Olivia de Alazara, is commissioning as a naval flight officer and is graduating this Friday. I'm trying to find out if that's her on our screen right now. Pretty impressive. I have a cousin that flies jets for the Navy. It's pretty impressive stuff they do. All right, getting to the gate here. Yale's electing to take a left turn at the gate, it looks like. The other 3 boats look like they're going to go to the right-hand turn, sending them to the left side of the course. So we have a question in here from Gloria Kev on the YouTube channel here. Right. I gotcha. She asks, what does or did your pre-start routine look like for when you sailed in college? I'll let you take that first one, Parker.
Well, first things first, making sure I get out there, get a line sight. I want to start with my line sight so I can start working on how far away I'm going to be from the line. And then I'm checking the ends, seeing which end of the line is favored. And then I like to take like 30 seconds to just like sit or stand up if I can't really see the pressure all that well, and just look and like really sort of try and find some patterns that are coming down, or looking up for long-term pressure, like, okay, in like 3 minutes we're going to have pressure coming down the left side, so I kind of want to make my game plan around that pressure. Yeah.
Yeah, those are good points. You know, I think another thing is as you're rotating boats in college sailing, it's not very unlike most of the other sailing in the rest of the world, but you're rotating boats, so you have to make sure that, like in the FJs, your jib cars are in the right spot, your outhaul's set up right, your main halyard's all the way up, bail the boat out, make sure your rig tension's right. So you have that whole boat speed aspect of it, and then the aspects of the homework on the course like you were describing. And there's really not a lot of time allotted for you to be able to get all that done. So efficiency is the name of the game a lot of the time.
Yeah, definitely important to get out there quickly once you rotate.
So and if you're jumping into a boat that didn't do well in the last race, then you have even less time.
Right.
Yeah. It's a zero-sum game with time like that. Pretty nice tack there on boat 16, coming out, looking pretty lifted, powered up. That's your possible leader there in boat 3. As we said earlier, it gets very chaotic at the top of the course. Very streaky, very puffy, very shifty. So it's kind of hard to tell if they're going to get across boat 8 coming out of the right. 8's really in some nice pressure right now off the screen to our left.
They are.
Oh, yeah. 3's falling into a hole, and 8's ripping in that puff right there. I think the 8 is the Yale Bulldogs, right?
Yep.
They led around the course, around the bottom mark.
Yeah.
And elected to head to the course right. Looks like they chose correctly here.
$11.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so towards the back here.
Yeah.
So this should be a big point swing here.
Yeah. You know, Yale wins this race, and BC gets a 11 boat. Looks like it's pretty far back in the race at the moment. So you might have a new leader after this race ends, but it's really anyone's game in these conditions. Things can change very quickly.
Really can. Yeah, 16. Shout out ODU. Just came across in that puff. They're getting across 17 and 18. They were looking earlier like it was going to be kind of close. Coming out of that pressure now.
Oh, ducking right
having
there,
to duck.
Yep.
So close. But they can't. When they tacked in the pressure, and they did a really nice job coming across, making those gains, making the crosses that they could. Unfortunately, having to duck one boat, but net gain coming across.
Sometimes in these conditions, the best thing you can do is duck. If you're on a lifted, you know, instead of tacking and going back off of the lift onto the header.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty powerful position to be in, actually, in these conditions. Simo tack there. Penny Asherman is asking on YouTube which schools are in which boats, so we'll try to get that up for you here, Penny. It's hard to keep track of both the fleets, but we will. We can tell you that the leader in this race we're currently watching, which they've already started sailing downwind, is Yale, boat 5 there. Looks like CCA, Coast Guard Academy. Pins in boat 6 going around the weather mark, I think. Navy in boat 4. Bowdoin in 13.
URI. Or not our, Roger Williams.
Roger Williams in boat 1 there.
Yep. Northeastern
In boat 14. Way to go, Parker. Parker is a current college sailor. He's a rising senior at ODU.
Losing it myself.
Oh man, it's been a long week of sailing.
Feels like yesterday coming in.
So he's very up to date on the pennies of the schools. Easy to glance, much easier to glance at that from our position than the score sheets. There is the rotation sheet just popped up there. One of our sponsors, Quantum Sales. West Coast Sailing, Zim Sailing. Thanks to all of our sponsors. All right, it looks like we're getting the 420 fleet in the Western semifinals. Just going around the weather mark here. Maybe we can pan over to them. It's getting really sporty right there. It looks like my alma mater in boat 10, the Charleston Cougars. They're kind of on the outside of the bubble looking in right now, so hopefully they can put it together. Charleston currently sitting in 10th with 173, so they're one position out of qualifying right now. In 9th place is Hobart Williams Smith Statesman with 167. About a 6-point difference. I wonder where Hobart is right now.
Hobart is in boat 1.
Boat 1, all right. Boat 1 looks like they're about three spots behind Charleston. Charleston's in a tight group with 2 boats. But so coming down to the finish here of race 11A. Is that correct, Parker?
Let's see, for the Eastern or for the Western?
In the Eastern. Looks like.
Yes, this should be the end of 11A.
All right. Here comes the knife fight we were talking about earlier. You know, you usually get 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 boats that get kind of ahead, and they kind of just manage their little pack at the front, and then comes the knife fight. Very tight racing in the middle of the fleet there, almost every race.
Yep.
And a lot of times that's where regattas are won, is you're never always going to be in the front. At least I wasn't. I mean, it's pretty rare. Maybe there are a few people out there that, that are. But if you can manage the knife fight well and come out on the winning end of a few different races in the pack like that, the peloton, if you will, that's kind of where a lot of points are gained or lost. So being able to manage that is really important.
Consistent single digits.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the average of the women's nationals and semifinals is that wins, but I know when I was sailing that if you average like a 6 or something in every race, or 6.5, 7, you had a shot at winning. If you didn't win outright, you know.
Absolutely.
So just trying to stay in that top 7, and you're going to be, if every race, and man, you'd be sitting really pretty at the end of the event. Yeah,
those deep teens really hurt. They really hurt.
Yep.
It's hard to come back from.
Yeah. And once again, there's no throwouts in college sailing, and it looks like we're going to get possibly 18 races in. So no throwouts, 18 races, trying to stay in the top 7. It's easier said than done. Here comes the Western semifinals around the gate. Looks like it's getting windy right there. I think that's Hobart in 1, followed by who's in 13. Hard to see.
Well, this is the Western.
Oh, gotcha.
Hobart's in 1, and what was the other boat you're looking for?
Oh, I think we've lost them.
Oh, we lost them.
It's okay.
Okay. Oh, boat 3 is MIT.
MIT. They're looking really nice right now.
Yeah,
If we zoom out a little bit, we can see how they're doing on the rest of the fleet.
One boat
They look
super far left.
Yeah, that's their only threat, right? So they're looking at a easy 1 or 2 here. My bet is that the left is going to be hard pressed to get across boat 3 right now.
Yeah, I would agree. They're in good pressure, sailing fast.
One thing I like to look at on when the boats are coming at you like this, it's really hard to tell depth perception, but if you look at the mast heights, obviously the mast height, if it's smaller, is further away, right?
Yeah.
So 12's mast, but 12's maybe they're getting kind of similar, but I think 3's is a little bit taller.
Yeah,
They're
I
going to
think
cross.
3's got them. Pretty clear. Yeah, I like that tack. Nice, just keeping them in your zone, keeping yourself in between the marks and them.
Yeah.
Makes it really difficult for them to just sail around you. They just got to, if they're going to do it, they got to beat you with speed.
Yep. They're really going well. Boat 3 looks like it's sailing really well. Playing the main a lot there, hiking hard. And now, you know, up here at the top again, they go from full hiking, and they're probably going to be not hiking here in a second when they find a hole at the top of the course. Yep, here they go, probably going into the boat. Yep, another puff. Just trying to keep the boat rolling, keep it on its feet, keep it balanced. Takes a lot of teamwork, a lot of movement on the main sheet, a lot of movement with your body weight.
Yep.
You can see that boom going in and out. Yeah, keeping the bow down in the 420, right?
Yep.
Yep. Kind of glamour sailing when it's windy up here at the top. Real flat water makes it kind of nice and easier. If you throw the wave state in, if it's not blowing off the land like it is here today, sailing becomes a lot harder.
Yeah. That's MIT crossing in first.
Nice win there. Way to go. Cheers to you, MIT. It's a nice win.
And looking like Dartmouth in 12 here, going to come up in second.
So this is
18 is Jacksonville. Yes.
Pretty nice set there by the MIT sailor with a 6-1. That's nice. That's a nice set.
Georgetown, excuse me.
They were 6th in their first race of that set and won the second one. That's pretty nice. They're going to jump up a bit after that a little bit. They're only 1 point behind the Jacksonville Finns.
Boat 15 is Harvard.
All right, Michigan, boat 6 here, I think. Holding off boats 1 and 17. 17 to Georgetown. Boat 1, I think, was Hobart. Ooh. Told you, being in that ducking position can be powerful right there.
Especially
they just went right around boat 14 here. Tough spot to protect that boat coming in hot, though, when they're ducking you. When
yeah,
you're in boat 14.
You got to just, if you really can't afford to let them get to the righty, you got to tack right in front.
You just got to have excellent boat handling and be able to rely on that. And it's tough when you're, in these conditions. You could be tacking into more pressure,
right?
Which makes it really hard to keep the boat on its feet and under control out of the maneuver.
Absolutely.
Yep. So what race is this coming up
12A
12A coming up wind here
for the Eastern.
for the Eastern Women's Semifinals.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we think this is pretty sure this is the first beat here of race 11,
12A.
12A.
Should be
12A. Okay. Looks like Tufts in boat 3 there, and Roger Williams in boat 1. They're leading the fleet out to the left side on starboard tack here. It's been kind of hit or miss over there on the left lately. I think as you get up to the top of the course here, the puffs seem to, at the very top, seem to come funneling out of the channel here at Southern Yacht Club and create a bit of a right shift. So right now, if we zoom out a little bit, I think we could see the boats to the right charging on a nice righty. Boats 8 and 11. You should be entering your screen here in just a second. There they are. Just falling out of the pressure right now.
Is 8 the furthest right?
Left.
Back course left. Okay.
Yep. Boat 3 farthest left, looking upwind. On our screen, they're the farthest right. Really getting wound up right now on that pressure. Let's see if it holds all the way to the weather mark for him. I think in this condition, another thing that's really important as a sailor would be to try to know how to make the boat go, the modes of the boat, whether put the bow down and go fast and try to consolidate people, or go a little higher and slower. If you're in boat 3's position, you're trying to put the bow down and get across all these boats before the next right shift comes in. Which, unfortunately for them, in an FJ is not as much of a thing as it is in a 420.
Yeah.
FJ hull is really round. It's got a lot of rocker. When you put the bow down, you don't necessarily go that much faster. Now, if you're in a 420, it could be a little bit more of a play like that.
Yale leading again here.
In boat 8, right?
Boat 8.
Yep. Strong set from Yale here in boat 8, huh?
Yeah.
They just won the last race, I believe, right? That's Yale around the weather mark in first, followed by BC, followed by boat 17. Can't really see what's on there. Penny.
Northwestern.
Northwestern, followed by 12. There's a C on there, Penny. It's Cornell, maybe? Coast Guard Academy, and then is that NC?
NC State.
NC State, yep. USF. Roger Williams in 1. Might be Penn in 6. Oh, so many boats to keep track of. You know, if you're in boat 7, you're not really happy about rounding in 18th here. But the good thing about these conditions is the race is never over.
No.
If you have a more stable, steady wind condition, it's a lot tougher to catch up. But in these conditions, if you play your cards right and focus on what's happening next with the wind, looking upwind like you were talking about earlier, you can really make some excellent comebacks. So, I mean, just make sure you have the mental fortitude to keep playing here. Find the pressure, start picking off boats or small packs of boats as you can. You're never out of it in these kind of conditions.
Yeah.
That's kind of a beautiful thing about college sailing, is there's a lot of venues like that.
Yeah, it is. But if you get upset about where you are, or you're focused on, man, this really sucks, I'm in last, you're not going to be able to focus on making the boat move as fast as possible. You're not going to be able to focus fully on where you need to be going. You got to put 100% of your effort and your mindset into, I want to go fast. I'm going to pick up that boat in front of me. And when you get past that one, okay, moving on, I'm going to pick that next one off.
Yep. Keep your head down. Keep plugging away. Breeze seems like it's moderating a little bit across the course here in beautiful and warm New Orleans. Sailing on the giant mud puddle we call Lake Pontchartrain. It's about an average of like probably 12 to 15 feet deep about the whole way around the lake and across the lake, which is not very deep.
No, it's not.
And it's about kind of 25, 30 miles across as we're looking across here, and I'd say about 60 miles east to west. It's a pretty big body of water.
Yeah.
We can't see the shore across here while we're sitting here, obviously, so it's kind of hard to believe it's a lake, but it is.
Well, funny thing, I was looking at a map, and it looks like it connects out to it's not actually a lake.
It's got two small bodies of water, the Wrigley's and the Chefmanture Pass, that empty into the Mississippi Sound, which then become the Gulf of Mexico. So those bodies of water are really kind of like big bayous, and the water really moves through both of those inlets to the lake. So it's not. I mean, I guess I'm a little rusty on my geography lessons here, but I think for all intents and purposes, it is a lake.
It is a lake.
Yeah,
Okay.
especially given the size of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because of that, there's rarely ever any current here on Lake Pontchartrain. When you get closer to those two bodies of water, Wrigley's and Chef Pass, there is some water that moves through there, but we were so far away from it, we're never really affected. But what can happen here is if you get a big weather system and it blows, like, let's say, for example, really hard out of the north for a few days, it pushes all the water up against the south shore here where we are with all the waves and everything, and because it's a shallow lake too. And then when that front passes and the breeze subsides and dies, now this water starts to move back out to where it was blown in from. We call it lake slosh. So that happens every now and then, but I don't think that's a factor here today. We have a question here from the YouTube channel. Which do the commentators like better, the 420 or the FJ? Well, I mean, for me, it would be kind of condition dependent. You know, if it's windy and wavy, I'd much rather be in a 420. But I really enjoyed sailing FJs. I think they're probably a little bit more fun to team race in the FJ.
Definitely.
And if it's lighter air, the FJ goes a little bit better, in my opinion. I don't know. What do you think, Parker?
I'm a big fan of the FJ. It's what I sailed all through middle school and high school. So I've got a lot more practice in it than the 420s, but I've been working on my 420 skills, and I think I'm getting pretty good. So it's more of a toss-up than it used to be, but definitely still FJs have my heart.
Oh, yeah. Well, so what do y'all sail at ODU? Do you have a fleet of...
We have 18 fleet of Zim FJs and a 12 boat fleet of Z420s.
Okay, so you got a decent amount of both, right?
Yep.
But all the regattas are held in
usually
FJs,
in
right?
yeah. Unless we're doing team racing.
Team racing, the Zambecki up there. Yeah, that's one of the coldest I ever was in college sailing was at the Aaron Zambecki team race at ODU in Virginia. It was blowing 30 and about 28, 30 degrees, and we'd get to the weather mark and we'd have to kick the main sheet because it was freezing solid to get it to run through the blocks. The joys of college sailing.
Yes, yes. Yeah, we had practice getting ready for nationals, and it was supposed to be summertime, so we were thinking, it's going to be going into the week. I was like, all right, it's going to be like mid-70s and hopefully some good breeze, and it'll be really nice out there. But it was more like high 50s, low 60s, and blowing like 25 all week. So it was a really hard week, but we definitely all got better, and it was a good amount of fun. So
yeah, well, I'm sure you wanted to warm up, right? When you came to New Orleans.
Yeah, definitely.
That'll do it.
Here.
That'll do it.
It's exactly what I was looking for.
Hot, humid New Orleans. All right, boat 8 and 11 coming up the course here. That's Yale in boat 8, still hanging on to the W so far. Can we find out who's in boat 11 there, Parker? Might
BC.
be BC, that's right. So the position, the lead have not changed. They were first and second around the weather mark last time around. They might be coming to the finish here, or maybe one more lap. But you can see how shifty it is. You can see the boats loading and unloading. Makes it really tough. Look at that big lefty getting wound up. Really nice movement on the jib there on boat 8. As the boat gets a lift, you ease the jib to help bring the bow up. A lot of play in both sails. Really nice work there. It's going to be tight. That'll be fun to watch further down the leg. It looks like that's a tight race, and they have a big gap between second and third. So if I was in boat 11 there, I'd be kind of attacking boat 8 because you've got some buffer zone, so you can kind of be a little bit more aggressive, try to push it, maybe throw some match racing skills and tools in there.
3's Tufts. Right, yeah, Tufts. And then in 17, got Northwestern. Boat 4 is Navy. 15 is NC State.
Hike it out there, girls. Big puff just hit him. Ooh, this is a tight spot for 13. Ooh, they squeak around. Look at that. Ooh, man, nice. It looks like they lost a lot of pressure. Had they had any header, it might have spelled disaster for them right there. But they made it around safe and sound. Whew. Kind of a right shift there, it looks like on our screen. The boats went to the wing around the offset without having to change much of an angle. So
yeah. Still a nice tight race up front. Can't really tell.
Yeah, I think 11 might have gone around boat 8 here.
They're looking like they might.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see another lead change or 2 on this leg. They're so close. And the breeze is so up and down and shifty. But, honestly, both of those boats are happy with a 1 or a 2 here. Like we were saying earlier, you're just trying to stay in the top 7. And especially at the semifinals, your goal is just to qualify, right? That's the name of the game. So making sure you sail clean, don't foul, qualify your team, and then approach the nationals a little bit differently.
Right.
So I think later in the week we're going to be joined by some other female sailors. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be really good. Really cool. Most of them are all focused sailing with their schools right now. Obviously. There's judges out there doing their due diligence, making sure everybody's not breaking Rule 42 for propulsion, making sure everybody sails clean, observing. Got to give props to the judges and umpires. The team racing wouldn't really be nearly what it is today without their volunteering and their knowledge and their time dedication to come down and help everything go and make it the sport that it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Getting breezy again down there at the gate. See the bow waves splashing. I bet you it's quite a relief for some of these sailors as they get to the top and get into some of those lulls. You know,
Yeah, I
let
bet
the
there's
legs.
some smaller girls out there.
Yeah, it's just, you know, well, I think anybody would be struggling today. It's just, I certainly would be. I'd be happy to get into a lull out there, you know. Oh, man. Give the legs a break for a second.
For
But
sure.
ideally, you're in the pressure the whole time. But,
Yeah.
you know, it's not the worst thing if you have to get 1 second break. So, boat 8. We were watching that battle just a second ago between 8 and 11. Yale and 8 and BC and 11. Looks like they split a little bit upwind, and Yale has gotten hold of the lead again here. Sailing out of the right side of the course. Ooh. As far as, well, let me make sure I update this. As far as the scores go, Yale and BC, who are battling it out for first and second in this race, are currently tied at first with 87 points. So if they're looking to win this event, every point matters here. But then again, they're just trying to qualify in the semifinals here. So, but I guarantee you that's not going through those girls' mind right now.
Mm-mm.
It wouldn't be going through my mind. No.
I don't really like to even look at the scores when I'm sailing.
Yeah.
Cornell and Navy are also tied for third here.
With 127, I see that. Yeah. Tulane's in fifth, 133 points. What boat is Tulane in right now? Coming off the co-ed national championship with a big win. Congrats to the Tulane with Green Waves in that one.
Tulane's in boat 2.
Excellent leadership by Coach Charles Higgins.
Yep.
Really developed that program excellently over the last few years. And then in sixth place, we have Bowdoin Polar Bears with 148. 7 is Pennsylvania with 161. Coast Guard in 8th with 198. 9th is Tufts Jumbos with 199. So this is where it gets interesting. 198, 199, and 8th and 9th, respectively, with those point totals. 10th is South Florida with 204. So they're on the outside of the door trying to knock in. Where are the Bulls right now, you think, Parker? What boat are they in?
Boat 9.
Boat 9. Where are they? Wow. The Bulldogs really legged out on
they did.
on the BC. They were playing the right side, I think, most of the time.
Yep.
Coming into the finish here, so they'll be 1 point up on BC.
It looked like BC just got a little out of phase, trying to find something so that they could get around.
Right. They probably split with them at the gate, and then were probably playing aggressively because we said they had that buffer. But now they've kind of lost that buffer, and they got to make sure they don't lose these other 2 boats that are coming into the finish from the left sides, boats 3 and 17.
17 is Northwestern, and boat 3 is
Looks like they
Tufts.
found their 11 found their way back to the right. They're in a big right pressure right now. They're going to be just fine. As long as it holds out. So again, we're kind of trying to focus on the wrong thing here. The boats in 7, 8, 9, 10. You know, they're Tufts is in 9th, and I think they're doing pretty well in this race. They might be them in boat 3. It is. So that's definitely going to help them stay in the qualifying portion of the regatta.
Definitely.
And South Florida's in boat 10. Ooh. That's going to open up the points a little bit on South Florida. NC State, I think, was having a good one there, right? They're in 11th with 216.
Yep, and they were boat 15.
Boat 15. So they're getting across right now in front of that pack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe.
Yep. this one that is finishing.
All right, so we're watching just watched the finish of race 12A, and now we've switched back over to the 420s, which is the Western semifinals coming up wind here. Looking quite sporty right now. Whole fleet seems to be in a decent amount of pressure.
I think it's 11B. Not sure. Yeah, for sure.
So that we think this is 11B coming up the course here in the 420s with the green angry wave on the mainsails.
Uh, 7 through 10
Oh, it might be
is
race 13.
quite tight for
It's race 13.
the Western Conference. Hobart in 7th with 190 points, and St. Mary's in 10th with 197 points. So only a
Right.
7-point difference separating those 4 teams.
Oh man, that's some tight racing right there. That's pretty exciting. A lot of teams really on the cusp, on the borderline of qualifying here. I think that's the Brown Bears in boat 13. Looks like Caroline Bayless, I believe, is skippering that boat. Harvard in boat 15. Hard to see who's in 14.
Harvard, I believe. If this is 13A, if not.
Yeah, I think that's Harvard in boat 15, right? I can't tell who's in boat 14. Looks like, oh, I might be mistaken here.
Con College.
Hiking hard there. Like to see it.
Yep.
Boat 12 entering our screen here. Do we know who was in boat 12 right now, Parker?
Should be, pretty sure it's Brown. There should be, or this is 11B, right?
It might be 13A. Sorry, we get mixed up here, folks. It's hard to keep track of all the races. There's 2 races going on at once,
It's Brown.
and they're rotating. Okay, Brown and
So
12.
This is 11B.
Oh, it's in B. Yep, correct. There we go. Nice tight racing up here. Quick jibes around the mark. They must see something coming off the right side of the course that they're trying to get to. From my perspective here up on the deck at Southern Yacht Club, I think they're probably doing the right thing, heading towards more pressure, jiving early. Really excellent at Southern Yacht Club to allow, all the sailors and everybody to use the facilities here and be able to see like we can from these decks.
Yeah, it's
great. Really nice of them.
Extremely generous.
Really nice facility they have here too,
Yes,
since
it is.
Katrina
Beautiful.
set it on fire in the middle of a flood. Southern Yacht Club is the second oldest yacht club in the country. Did you know that,
I
Parker?
did not know that.
Yeah, right behind New York.
Wow.
So I wonder if any of the teams have encountered the the local alligators that have taken up refuge inside the harbor here at Southern Yacht Club.
Yeah, we've seen a couple. We saw one during co-ed semis just out on the lake.
It was on the lake, really?
Yeah, we
I
saw
haven't
one
seen
out
him
on
out
the
there.
lake, and then we've also seen a couple over by
Yeah.
where the boats are at.
Yeah, I think the local junior sailors have named the alligators Allie and Chompy.
Yeah, they were. I saw Tulane kids that were jumping in the water. I was like, I'm not so sure about that. Not sure if I'm gonna go swimming.
Yeah,
out
I don't
there.
know if I'd do that either, I think I just saw a headline recently of an alligator swimming aggressively towards somebody in the water out here in Lake Pontchartrain, so I probably wouldn't flirt with that thing. Breeze is moderating as they go downwind here. You can see in the jibs that are kind of caving in on the wing here. Excellent opportunity to be looking upwind if you're in one of these boats, trying to find where that next big puff's coming from, because it's coming. If the breeze is down, it's not going to be there for long. And if it's up, it's not going to be there for long. Trying to always think at least, a few steps ahead.
Yep.
Looks like Harvard in boat 15, Georgetown right there in 18, Brown Bears in 12. Can't seem to quite make out who's in 3.
Did you catch that?
Nope. Go for it.
He said that the Harvard B skipper has been crewing. We're just hearing that the Harvard B skipper has been crewing this entire time and is now just going in as a skipper. So being able to do both positions can be a real valuable asset to a team, where you can just go where you're needed and sort of be that jack of all trades that's just there to help the team and do what's needed. So hats off to her. I certainly couldn't go from driving to crewing at a national event.
Oh, that's pretty amazing. It really is. That's a coach's dream to have somebody like that on
really
the team.
Is.
When I was in college sailing, I kind of came to this conclusion: you can put your best crew in with a mediocre skipper, and they can still win races. But if you put your best skipper in with a mediocre crew, you're probably not going to win many races.
Yeah.
The crew is so crucial in these boats.
So crucial.
And that's have somebody that can, play both sides of the ball, if you will. It's pretty impressive, and that's pretty amazing.
It's
Props
also,
to her.
When you get to sit in the front of the boat and the back of the boat, you get two different perspectives on what the race is looking like. And so it's a lot easier for you to understand what the person in the back of the boat, if you're going from skippering to crewing, knowing what the person in the back of the boat is kind of looking for, and what things that what you would want out of your crew, you already know, like, I should probably be working on doing these things, and vice versa, switching the other way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's something we always did when I was in college. I guess once a day or something, we'd have or maybe not, maybe once or twice a week, we'd have what we call crew races, where you switch positions in the boat, and I think there's a lot to be taken and learned from that.
Yep. We do those at ODU as well.
So I think Brown was doing pretty well here in this 420 race, right?
Yeah, they were, about 12.
So I have a note here that says 70% of the Brown University sailing team in general are all women. That's a large percentage of the sailing team.
That is a large percentage of the sailing team.
That's awesome.
It is.
And apparently also Emmy Ruth, Brown sailor, her elbow's been the wrong way. Who knew? I'd like to see
inward?
that. I don't know.
Like that
It just says it right here. I don't know. Is it April Fool's? I don't know.
That would be something to see for
And
sure.
those seniors on that team are graduating on Sunday. So.
Oh wow! Congratulations to them.
Yeah. Tufts was doing pretty well in this race too. Chloe Holder, skipper with crew Paige Tyler met each other here at Southern Yacht Club for the Lighter Clinic in 2016. I was actually lucky enough to coach Chloe Holder when I was coaching out at San Francisco Yacht Club for a few years. She was high school sailing and 420 sailing. Great sailor, great young lady. I haven't seen her here yet, but hopefully I'll be able to catch up with her when we get off the water here, or when they get off the water. I'm sitting comfortably in a chair underneath a deck. Looks like Stanford there in boat 6. Round in the weather marking first. Nice way to go, girls. Awesome. So I don't know if this is the same at every school or still, or even in college sailing, but the women's sailing team when I was at Charleston were a really strong, cohesive unit. Like they had their own nicknames for everything and everyone, and it was kind of neat. They just spent so much time traveling to the women's events together. And I think these days you see a lot more crossover between girls from the women's team sailing and co-ed.
Yeah.
Is that something I know?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. At ODU, the women are interchangeable. You know.
That's
They
awesome.
Come out.
That's excellent.
Great competitors, great teammates. You know.
Yeah. And I think I saw, it looks like there's more and more women All-Americans in the co-ed as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's excellent. That's awesome. I've got some pushback here from the YouTube comments about my comment about Southern Yacht Club being the second oldest yacht club in the country. Apparently, Carolina Yacht Club is the second oldest. That's what they're saying here. They don't get credit, though, because they had to close for the Civil War. Apparently, they were established in 1853. But I think Southern Yacht Club was established in 1849. So, I don't know. We'll have to figure that one out. I'm going to start an internet battle here. Hold All right, we're watching. What race are we watching here? 11 something? 11B?
11B.
11B in the 420s going downwind with the angry green wave, 2-lane green wave on the mainsails here. So Parker and I are sitting up here in the coach's peanut gallery. Every now and then we get a funny comment or two. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is.
I bet you they're happy they don't get picked up on this microphone sometimes.
Yeah.
Hard to tell who's going to win this one. It looks like it's boat 6. Can't see the pennies from here. Yep, they just went across.
Should be Stanford in 6.
Stanford in 6. Yeah, there we go. Looks like Harvard in 15. Brown in 12. Georgetown in 18. Three's kind of got the rocky rolling coaster going on there. Might just be the board a little bit too high if you start to seesaw like that. So we're finishing up race 11B right now. College Sailing Women's Western Semifinal. And after this race, we're going to take a quick break. I think they might keep the cameras rolling. I'm not exactly sure. But we will be back in just a few minutes. Parker, thanks. Good afternoon. We are here live in New Orleans again for the College Women's Eastern and Western Semifinal Championships. Beautiful day for some sailboating out here. The racing's sporty, the breeze is up, and the sun's out. There's a few squalls building to the west of us, but I think they're going to stay away. Hopefully they do. They might be providing the great breeze we have. I'm joined here with Mickey Munns from BU, a rising senior. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Mickey?
Well, thank you, Jackson. Happy to be here. I'm a senior, rising, class of 2023, from Redondo Beach, California originally, and I'm super happy to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, you just got done sailing the co-ed nationals, is that right?
Yeah, it was a blast. The final day of semis, I'm the B division skipper, was a real nail biter, and we made it to finals and learned a ton and had a great time there as well.
Awesome. That's great. How'd y'all end up at the finals?
Something like 15th overall, but we're hoping to improve on that result next year.
All right. Well, that's the right attitude. Looking at today, it's really quite puffy, really shifty, pretty tough racing out there. What would you be looking to do today in conditions like this, Mickey?
Well, there's a couple things I noticed from racing in this breeze direction the last couple days. It's really important to stay lifted as much as you can, but when there are shifts or puffs that you see on the course, you got to dig into those hard.
Yeah, that's been the key, I think, is keeping your head out of the boat, looking for the next big wind line is coming from and trying to stay in it, keeping your bow pointed at the mark on the lifts.
Yes, sir. It's a lot easier to see that from up here, but these are the best sailors in the country, and they're pretty good at what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been some excellent shows of athleticism and sailing talent out here today. It's been pretty impressive.
It is extremely strong wind, and everyone out here is handling it like a champ.
Right now we're looking at the FJs going downwind here with the colorful sails and the stripes. I believe that is race. Let me find it out here. Looks like it's race 11B. If the scores have been updated. So that's boat 6 there. Looks like they're leading the race. Going downwind.
It's the Coast Guard Bears.
Coast Guard Bears. Nice. Followed closely by 11 and boat 3. Pretty tight at the top this time. Usually we see one or two boats that get stretched out in front and the rest of the pack is in a knife fight, right? So kind of interesting. It's a little bit more evenly spaced out throughout this fleet.
Yeah, like I said, this is a very high-quality fleet of sailors, and especially on the days when the breeze was coming from the club from here, the racing was tight. It was about 10 seconds between 1st and 18th.
Oh, wow. That's impressive. 10 seconds.
Yep, so it looks like we're going down the run. One of the things my coach was telling me is you need to work on selecting what gate you want to round right when you round the top marks. And so we're going to see people going out to one side of the run to try and get room when they come back together at the bottom.
Right, absolutely. People jibing quickly or opting not to jibe, establishing which side of the run you're going to be on from the exit of the windward mark. Excellent point.
Exactly. To me, it looks like the far gate mark, green gate mark, the right turn is a little high, so I'd expect a lot of traffic right there.
Yeah, I can see that from here as well. We have been seeing the top right be pretty beneficial, though, as they come back up the course, so maybe that's by design on the part of PRO Todd Fedison down there, who's running these races for us. Todd and I have known each other for a long time. He used to coach me a little bit when I was younger, and we've done some sailing more recently in the J24. I see him around quite often throughout the country at different events. He's an excellent PRO, probably one of the best in the country, if not the world.
Well, he has been doing a fantastic job so far. He definitely did so with the open fleet. And I think they're actually coming down to the finish right now.
You're right. They're on the finish of race 11B, I believe.
All right.
And if you're just joining us in the western or the eastern semifinals here that we're watching finish, Yale is currently ahead, winning the regatta with 88 points. Only 1 point ahead of Boston College with 89 points. In third is Navy with 133. Fourth is Cornell with 134. So tight there again between 3 and 4, as well as 1 and 2. In fifth place is Tulane coming off the hot win in the co-ed nationals with 150 points. Bowdoin in 6th with 160. Pennsylvania in 7th with 174. Coast Guard and Tufts tied at 8th with 203 points. And that's where it starts to get interesting, right, Mickey? That's the cutoff to try to make it to the women's nationals. You got to finish in the top 9 of your fleet, either the Western or the semis. In 10th place with 214 points, so a little bit behind there, about 11 points back from qualifying. On the outside of the bubble looking in is South Florida. Behind them is NC State with 224, and then BU with 235, followed by ODU, Roger Williams in 14th, Northwestern in 15th, UC Los Angeles, UCLA, I suppose, in 16th, Northeastern in 17th, and New York Maritime Privateers.
Yep, and I think anyone all the way down to 12th has a chance of making it to the finals. Right now it's anyone's ball game, but we only have how many more races? Just 2 or 3 races left, so time is ticking down.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're on the outside of the bubble looking in, you're trying to really, you're giving it all you got. It's a make or break, win or go home kind of thing. So.
And for those who are right on the edge, but that's where we were coming into the final day of semis. You're really fighting hard to hold on to what you have, and everyone's coming to take it from you.
Yeah, absolutely. So here going around the gate, boat 12 in the 420s with the angry green wave on the mainsails. Brown, I believe, looking quite good and quite further out ahead. Much more of like the style of the fleet that we've been seeing. There's one. First boat's pretty launched, second boat's pretty launched, and then the tight racing happens in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and onward. Both boats electing to take a right turn to send them out to the left side of the course here.
What race is this? Is this B or A?
This is race 12B, I believe, here for the Western semifinals.
So I believe leading this race is Brown Bears. Caroline Bayless is the skipper, and not sure who the crew is, but really great team, and they've been having a good year so far. They have a ton of seniors on their team, so a lot of them are looking to make one last hurrah.
Looks like Julia Reynolds crewed with Caroline from races 1 through 6, Madeline McGrath races 7 through 10, and Nora Ong in 11 and 12. So Nora's out there sailing with Caroline right now. In their own fleet of B division, they have 55 points, only 1 point behind second with 54, which is MIT, and in first place in B division is 38 points. Stephanie Hauk with crews Abigail Tyndall and Grace Austin. And skippering for MIT is Kayla Frang with crew Samantha Carlson and Maylee Jim, and also Lucy Brock, I think, is actually skippering from MIT right now in B division.
So if you come to the full fleet here, we have the 2 leaders that tacked on to port, and I would assume they're looking to consolidate and get back towards the mark, and the vast majority of the fleet is on starboard right now. And to me, it looks like starboard may be the long tack.
Yeah, that's probably a fair bet there, Mickey. Bringing up the skipper and crew changes we were just reading out, it's kind of a really unique thing to college sailing where you can change personnel. If it gets lighter air, you put lighter sailors in, and if it's windier, you need the stronger and heavier sailors. And MIT's obviously been changing people out a little bit. There's a few tactics to that, right? You can maybe if it's a real windy day, you sub crews or skippers out because they're just fatigue. Fatigue might be setting in, or maybe one sailor's not performing as well, or the conditions have changed. So there's a lot of strategy on the coach's part and the sailor's part to figure out who's going to sail with who and when and in what conditions.
Well, I would say college sailing boats are very, very simple, and on other classes you may change the settings on your rigging to adjust to the wind, but in college sailing you don't change pins, you change crews. And when we were sailing with all this humidity and all this heat, we were getting really, really tired, and by the last day, my crew and I were both gassed. So having a really big, deep squad allows you to rotate skippers and crews, but you need to have the right personnel in for the right wind conditions, and the sets take a while here. So it's a little bit of a gamble whether or not you're putting in a light air crew or not, because it can change at any second.
Right, and I think you brought up a great point about trying to stay hydrated and alive kind of out here. It's really hot. I'm a local here in New Orleans, and it's just really starting to get into summer here. And I can tell you, when you're out there sailing in this heat and humidity, you can't put the water into your body fast enough. But you're just sweating it out faster than you can put it in. So that's definitely something that the coaches and support teams are trying to help battle with their sailors, keeping them fed and hydrated and with their head mental fortitude, to do as best as they can.
Oh, I agree. Being here for so long, you really need to fight fatigue and drink enough water, eat enough food. What are you thinking here? We're coming into the finish line. The leader, Brown Bears, is out by quite a bit, but there's a lot of congestion right after that. How are you dealing with the ley lines and the rest of the pack?
Oh, yeah, excellent drone shot there. We haven't had that yet today. I think I'm trying to just keep my head out of the boat if I was sailing today and going towards the pressure. Trying to play an edge, whichever edge you decided to play from the gate mark pretty much. You just got to sometimes be patient, but making sure that you're setting up for the pressure in a way that is relative to the other boats around you, whether they can pass you or not, or if they can't, maybe you risk it a little bit more, push a little bit harder to one side, and hope that side comes in a little bit better for you.
So
getting really tight here, right, Mickey? Look at that.
Yeah, here he comes. So it's a tight battle between 1, 15, and 6. They're all three are on port right now. I think 15 might have the lead, and they will have starboard advantage when they tack. What do you think?
I think it's getting really light up here at the top of the course and becomes a sort of a crapshoot. There's the winds up and down. It's really shifty. So keeping your head out of the boat and trying to play the shifts right there at the very end. Look how light it's gotten. They're sitting in their boat right now, which is opposite of where they start the race further offshore, where it's blowing like 15, 16 probably, if I had to guess.
Yeah, so
I think Harvard came away with the win there in 15, right?
Oh, really?
Nope, they were second. Okay.
Brown Bears in 12. Is Harvard in 15?
Brown was so far ahead, they're sailing into the harbor in boat 12.
So the sailors are going to come in and rotate and get ready for the next race. And meanwhile, we have the Eastern semifinal and the FJs that have just gotten off the line.
Man, that was some tight finishing right there in the 420s here. Wow, a lot of boats finishing overlapped. Another one of the beauties of college sailing. Game of inches.
Just such tight racing. These are truly the best athletes in the country, and it's just so competitive.
This is a nice drone shot of the FJ fleet coming up wind. This is the Eastern Championship, I believe.
So here we go. It looks like the boats on the left side of the course are launched. There's two pink sails up there, and it looks like they're leading the race commandingly right now off of a huge left shift and lots of wind.
You can tell how much the pressure is up and down if you look at the masts on each boat as they swing from leeward to windward. That's the boat going in and out of more wind pressure. Yep. So it's all over the place out there. I think it's getting more and more dicey actually as the day goes on. We thought it was building for a little bit, and it did, and now it seems like it's going even lighter than we've seen all day.
I agree.
At least since I've been out here watching.
So these two pink boats, one of them crossed, one of them did not, and the rest of the pack is back on starboard tack. Very close racing.
Yeah, this is the kind of conditions where you go from hero to zero real quick.
Believe me, when we were out there racing, the same thing happened to us. You really have to keep your head up and just keep pushing and keep digging. And if you see a puff and you're sure about that, you have to dig pretty deep into it, but you'll come right back.
I believe that's Chloe Holder sailing for the Tufts Jumbos in boat 4 there, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, fantastic. A California native.
Yeah, I coached her for a few years when I was coaching out there for San Francisco Yacht Club.
She's a great sailor. I used to sail 420s against her, and now she's with the Tufts Jumbos.
And I think I read something in one of our notes that Chloe and her crew, I guess she's sailing with right now, that they met here at the lighter clinic. Oh, wow, look at that. Man overboard drill on boat 18.
Yep, we got a crew out of the boat, and that is...
You got to haul them in by the life jacket straps. That's the only way to do it. The arm never really... There you go, life jacket strap, haul in. There you go.
Northwestern Wildcats, but they're still doing pretty well in the race, so if they can get the sails back in,
yeah,
they should be right back in it.
And this was the first beat, right? And when these conditions, again, you're never out of it.
There's plenty of time to make it back.
Hopefully everyone's all right.
And in the frame right now, number 9 is the Boston University Terriers, my team, looking to make that final cut.
There you go.
And we got those 3 boats on port tack. 16's a little bit ahead, but right now it's just a bit of a drag race to the next puff, which appears to be coming in off the right side.
Yeah, but if we zoom out a little bit, the right is a little bit levered out from boat 16. So if this right shift comes in right here like it looks like it's about to do, 16 might be in a little bit of trouble here.
Yeah, there's a big pack coming to that shift as well. So, with the level being so high, there's not really any information that's not known. So you're all on a level playing field. And with the boats being exactly the same, there's not a type of sailing that's much fairer than college sailing.
I agree with that. Yep, absolutely. Certainly more of a test of skill than equipment in college sailing.
Agreed. Well, I think you're right about this right shift. It looks like the boats on the right are starting to pick up some pace.
Yeah, from our perspective here in the commentator booth on the deck at Southern Yacht Club, you can really see the pressure as it comes off the land and onto the water. And it seems like when it blows out of the south or southeast like this in New Orleans, the wind seems to funnel down this harbor fairway over here to our right, and the puffs just kind of explode out of the harbor onto the lake right where they're going upwind right now, which most of the time can provide a pretty nice righty coming out of the harbor.
So as a local, the percentage play there is the top right, you think?
I think you got to keep your head on a swivel all the time, but I think more often than not, if at the top, I'd try to be coming out of the right.
Fair enough, and that starboard tack ley line can get really really tight. So
there you can see them getting lifted up right there on starboard, Mickey. You're right, and
yeah.
look how close all the boats are. This is a tough spot to be in to try to get around the mark without fouling anyone or crashing into anyone.
Yeah, you're right about that right shift. And let's watch out for those port boats because it's going to be a tight bob and weave to get around the mark. And here's our leader, Cornell Big Red in boat 11. Followed by the Navy Midshipmen in 3, and the North Carolina State Wolfpack in number 16.
NC State having another good race here, huh?
Yep.
I think they had a pretty good set last time too.
So NC State jibes around the mark. The boat in the 1 and in the 2, the 1 also jibed, 11 jibed, and looks like everybody is now on port for that right shift.
Yeah, that's pretty common, right, Mickey? You round in a right shift and you want to get on the port jibe, heading dead, more down the course as quickly as you can. Oh, man, it's getting windy here. Pool umbrellas and tables are flying off over. That's going to spell for some gusty conditions out there here in a minute when this puff reaches out there on the course.
Agreed. So, yeah, we're trying to get on the long jibe right away and getting the pressure. But with the fleet being as tight as it is, sometimes jibing around that offset mark can be tricky when you're overlapped with 3 or 4 other boats.
Yeah, you're not getting there.
So right now, what are you thinking if you're sort of in this upper middle part of the fleet and you're coming down the run?
If I'm in the middle of the fleet, I'm trying to, again, keep my head upwind all the time. At least somebody in the boat, usually probably the crew at this point because they can turn around and look better upwind. Probably upwind and downwind, they can see better. But just trying to set up for these puffs that are streaking off the shoreline here and taking advantage of it. Trying to keep the bow point as close to the mark as you can, sailing the shifts right, and trying to really kind of shoot, if you go from the wing on wing like all the boats are doing here, sometimes you might go to the reach if you see a puff and reach over to that puff and then wing back again to put you in a position to sail on that puff for as long as possible.
Yeah, fair enough.
I just got word from the PRO we might have about 1-1, another set of 1-1. And that might be it for the day here. So possibly only 2 more races after this.
So it looks like number 11's leading the race. Coronel Big Red of Lily Myers and Amelia Newman.
Yeah, they're doing a really nice job. But what's probably a little bit more important right now is where's your school in the overall standings? So the top 9 qualify to go on to the Nationals. So currently in 9th is the Tufts Jumbos with 217. 3 points behind them is South Florida Bulls with 220. So let's figure out where Tufts, what boat is Tufts in right now? What boat is South Florida in?
So Tufts is in boat 4. They are coming down.
Oh, there
to
they are
wing
on the
right
left
now.
side of your screen right there. Looks like they're in a pretty good spot, but man, the fleet is tight. If we zoom out just a little bit, we might be able to see how tight the fleet is there.
Yep, and the South Florida Bulls are in boat 10 currently.
Wow, look at that pack coming into the gate.
It's tight.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of Rule 18 situations down there. And, you know, these sailors, they're planning on this way before the mark. You start communicating with the other competitors, who's going to have inside rights at the leeward mark.
So right now, we're hoping to see the battle between boats 10 and boat 4. So the USF Bulls in 10 and the Tufts Jumbos in 4, and they are right on the edge of making that cutoff for the Nationals finals.
They split gates, it looks like. It looks like USF took a right-hand turn at the bottom of the course and heading out to the course left side, and Tufts took a left-hand turn, which sends them to the course right side. Judging from our perspective here, there is a massive puff on the right side and a big hole in the middle, so we'll see what happens.
Yep, I can see this this big righty here, so expect these boats heading towards us to flop onto starboard tack pretty soon when it hits.
Yeah, that's probably the gust that knocked over the umbrella and table down there.
And our first right boat tacked onto starboard, that's number 15, Old Dominion Monarchs. I will say the boats on the left side of the course have wheels right now. There's great breeze over there too. The only place it looks like there isn't breeze is in the middle.
You're right about that. They do look like they're going well. Seems like it's getting more and more gusty, blustery.
Yep, so right now we have 7 and 1 that appear to be in the lead. That is Yale Bulldogs and the Tulane Green Wave, home team.
All right.
They must be pretty stoked about the national championship they just won in fleet racing.
Oh, that was huge, huh? Really coming off of a huge win there. Really got to give all the credit we possibly can to that team for pulling that one off. It's really impressive to see that. The team, you know, really wasn't a player until about 3-4 years ago, and they've really, the school and the alumni and the community's really stepped up, and they've done it. You know, they won the college nationals. That was really cool to see.
And you know,
and on their home waters too.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I think you know, us people who are around on the venue seeing the whole team, they looked really professional and really sharp, and they're deserving of that title, that national championship. They were just had their stuff together all event long. Every single member of the team.
Yeah, head coach Charles Higgins done a really impressive job with that whole program. Can't give him enough credit, and the sailors too. It's really cool to see that.
So I think this righty that we were looking at is coming in very strong. The majority of the Eastern Fleet is on starboard tack right now, coming up to the top marks.
And I see boat 10. They're out there on the left side in kind of a hole. Boat 4 is on the right side of the course, on your screen left. If we pan out a little bit, and that's the big race right now, right? Those are the guys that are trying to get into the top 9 and qualify for the national championship. So they have one more race between them, I think. So they'll finish this and they'll do a 1-and-1 set, 1 for A and 1 for B, and that sounds like it's going to be it for the day. So got to hang it all out here.
Yep, so it looks like the Jumbos are in number 4 are in great breeze on the right side, and the Bulls are on port coming back to the center, but looks like they're in a bit of a lull right now. 4 really has some wheels.
Yeah, they're really in a thick puff right there. It's going to be good for them, I think.
And our top 5 are materializing. It looks like these 2 boats from the left and a few from the right are coming in. So 11, Cornell Big Red, still leading the race, followed by 3, which is the Navy Midshipmen, and 15, which is the Old Dominion Monarchs.
Do you know who's in the boat for Navy right now? Oh, yeah.
So in B for the Navy Midshipmen, it's Eva Blavelt and Julia Christie, a freshman skipper and a junior crew, or sorry, a sophomore crew. Anything in the YouTube chat?
In boat 2, that looks like Roger Williams, Roger Dodger, if you will. It's kind of funny throughout all college sailing. I feel like every team starts to come up with their own nicknames for the other schools that they're sailing against all season, and that was ours for Roger Williams. I think that's kind of widespread for them, Roger Dodger, but it's just kind of fun to say.
It's fantastic. Let's see how we're doing. So Cornell still leading with a big gap. And boat 4 of the Jumbos is jib reaching right now. Now they're winging. They're a little bit closer to the screen right now. And they are currently leading the battle for that last Nationals qualifying spot, with boat 10 coming around the offset right now, about 10 or so boats behind. So they're going to have some work to do to make up this gap.
Yeah, it looks like Tufts is going to hold on to their 3-point lead and increase it a little bit over South Florida. But there's still 2 races to go, and this race isn't even over yet. And in these conditions, anything can happen. So don't want to count the chickens before they hatch. But right now, if it plays out for Tufts right now, it's going to be looking good for them. And then, the South Florida is just going to have to focus on these next 2 races and make up some distance there.
And what do you usually do when you're coming into the end of an event? Are you focused on points or just sailing your best race? I know personally, I don't really like to look at the points. How about yourself?
I think it's dependent on the situation. If you're in this kind of situation where it appears that you're battling, if you're battling out for ninth or 10th, I think that's when you can focus a little bit more on where that boat is, and you kind of like set up in a spy on your boat to make sure you always know where that guy is. And if you're ahead, you always want to stay with them for sure, because if you're next to them, they can't put that many boats between you. Ideally, you're in front of them, but if you're not, if you're behind them and you stay close to them, they can't. It's becomes almost physically impossible to squeeze that many boats between the 2 of you. But then again, if you're in another situation where you have 4 or 5 teams that are really close to you, it becomes unmanageable to find and control and stay with all of those boats all the way around the race course. So that's when I try to develop more of we're just going to go out and try to win the race. Maybe not take too big of a risk. Keep an eye on those teams where they are, but I wouldn't be actively seeking all of them out, because it's just hard enough to try to do well in the race as it is. And if you start thinking about things that aren't helping you win the race or do well in the race, it starts to end up usually going poor for you. That's been my experience.
I agree, and I'm sure these sailors are getting really tired towards the end of the day. They've been hiking hard all day long, and now it's crunch time for a lot of these teams. And you're going to see a lot more scuffles happening at the bottom mark, and a lot more action, because people are fighting for their seasons right now.
You're right. This is when things can start to get a little chippy at times, with the rules and close scenarios where you got to beat one boat.
And I think we had a wipeout on that downwind. It's a pink boat, I believe.
Boat 7, it looks like.
Yep. And they got it back, and
it's
they're
Yale, I believe.
coming back downwind.
Feels like it might be getting a little squally around here. It's about that time of day here in New Orleans where it rains just about every day from 2 to 3 or 4 p.m. here. gets so hot inland, and the wonderful swamp, the city that New Orleans is in. It's not technically in the swamp, but it sure feels like it with the humidity and the heat, and that generates a lot of cell activity in the weather that could start sprouting some thunderstorms up, which could really have an effect on the wind here.
I bet. Well, coming here, it's been unpredictable and something different every single day, and the sailors have been adapting to the humidity, to the different wind directions, but these are phenomenal athletes here, and they're really handling it well.
Yeah, that's another local, Johnny Lovell and I were talking about. People were coming up to us and asking, what's the local knowledge? What are the wind patterns here? But I think individually, anyone that asks us that, was the only pattern here is that there isn't one most of the time. It's pretty wacky and pretty unpredictable here on Lake Pontchartrain, so there's not really many continuous patterns from any wind direction. It's just really heads-up sailing. You gotta dissect and figure out what's going on that day, or what's even going on from race to race. It can change, which I think it is right now.
Fair enough. Well, looks like we're on the beat with the FJs. Cornell Big Red still leading the race, and it's starting to spread out a little bit, but still tight for most of the fleet.
Yeah. So we're panning back over here to the Eastern semifinals that are coming up wind. I think they just started a minute ago. Is that right, Mickey? Or are they on their way to second beat?
I believe this is the second beat.
You're right, second beat, yep.
And here they are in our sponsors provided sails from Zim Sailing in the FJs. So on the first day, the Eastern Conference sailed 420s, and today both fleets switched, and now they're in the FJs. And it looks like the right is coming in pretty strong once more. 11 and 3 are really wound up on starboard tack, and they're ripping.
Yeah, they're in a really nice puff there, Mickey. And pointing dead at the mark, too. Doesn't look good for the boats on the left right now. The right is coming in very strong.
And that's where it's tough, because you have to strike the balance between wanting to sail the lifted tack towards the mark, but you're also seeing puffs on the side of the course that you may need to take a hitch to. And if you're not looking over your shoulder, or your crew's not doing intel on each side, someone might pick up a lot of wind and start moving really fast, and you won't be able to catch them until they've already passed you. And number 3 is tacking onto starboard tack. That's the Navy midshipman. 11 is coming with to defend, and it looks like 11's lead is safe.
Yeah, they have a nice, comfortable lead there.
Sorry?
No, go ahead.
In third or fourth place, we have Boat 4, which is the Tufts Jumbos, defending their position. In ninth, which is right on the cutoff for college finals. And I see 10, and they're a little bit further back in the fleet, so they're going to have some work to do to make up that deficit.
I wonder where NC State is right now. They're currently in 11th with 236 points, which is pretty far back from 9th place, but it's not. I'm not sure it's exactly mathematically impossible for them to qualify, but it's definitely harder than it is for USF to try to jump up to 9th place. But
NC State is boat 16 in the blue sails. They're on starboard tack coming up towards the finish, and I believe they're going to finish in 8th, somewhere around 8th or 9th place.
Yeah, that's it looks right to me too.
Now in a college race, 8th or 9th place consistently is fantastic, and it will it can win you or get you on the podium for a lot of events.
Yeah, so when I was sailing in college, not at the nationals, but at like the bigger regional, like the ACCs or the fall championships and stuff like that, an average of a 4 would win every regatta. If you averaged a 4, you'd win. But when you get to the nationals, where all the best teams sail against each other, I think it's more of like an average of a 6 or a 7, and you'd win. It's somewhere around there. So it's about consistency at this level of sailing. In college, there's usually close to 18 races. They're trying to get them all in, and there's no throwouts. So, consistency can really be the name of the game. And that was something we focused on, was averages, like trying to figure out, well, what do we average in that set? That kind of gives you a good idea for where you're going to lay in the overall standings.
Yeah, and if you look back at the Open Nationals that just wrapped up, you'll see every single team in there has had a 17th or an 18th. And with no throwouts, no drops in college sailing, it's just important to be, on the brink in that top half, and that will get you where you need to be.
So it looks like the Eastern semifinal race is finishing up, and the Western race in the 420s is starting to get going. It looks like boats are on their final approach here to the start line. Maybe we can head towards that way with the camera here in a second.
And it looks like the 420ers are just about to start, so let's take a look at that. It is really windy down there at the line. You can see everyone's sails luffing like that.
Yeah, they're on their final approach to the start here. If I had to guess, it's probably somewhere about 50 seconds, maybe 40 seconds to the start.
Yep, and it looks like there's a huge pile up at the boat end of the line. That's that end that's close to us, and tons of open real estate at the pin.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting, Mickey. The right has been coming in pretty hard, and I guess everybody's really fighting for that end of the line and stay on the right side of the course. But a lot of times it's a pretty good tactic to start where others are not, in low density, and just get off the line clean, establish yourself in that top group, and then race hard from there, picking off boats. It's only a few boats are going to come out of that start in that pile in a good spot. Everyone else is going to be flushed out the back and kind of can't dictate their own race anymore. They kind of have to sail on the lanes that are provided to them. It can make it really tough.
Yep, so I think people are...
Looks like that was a general recall. Boats are turning back around.
Yep.
That usually happens when you have one end that everybody wants, whether it's really favored or not. If you have density, the line gets pushed hard, and you usually end up with a general recall. So I wonder if PRO Todd Fedison is going to adjust the line or leave it where it is. But now they're going to have a starting penalty, right?
Yep, so they may put up the I flag, which is a round the ends flag, and what we were seeing 2 days ago on the last day of finals was PRO Todd Fedison was adjusting the line and the marks if there was a general recall due to a large wind shift, like what just happened. So if the wind is to the right, the top marks are going to come to the right towards the land, and the pin is going to be raised to even out everything. So there's no advantage to a side. It's cleaner racing.
Man, from my perspective here, it really is getting puffy out there, maybe even more so than it was. It's going to be an interesting race. A lot of ups, a lot of downs, chutes and ladders, if you will.
Yep, it's really different characteristics as you get up the beat. It looks like at the bottom it's full-on hiking, super windy. You can see when those sails are luffing and flapping really hard, there's a lot of wind in them. And when you get to the top of the course, it gets a lot more unstable and more tactical. You're going to be doing a lot more maneuvers.
Yeah. So here's an interesting thing. I just came back from the Lightning World Championship in Wrightsville Beach, and I believe a skipper on the Michigan team, Jenna Prost, I believe that's her name. She just won, I believe, the Lightning World Championship. She's sailing A division for Michigan, I believe. Maybe we can cross-check that and make sure about that. But that's a pretty darn hard regatta to win, I'll tell you that. We certainly weren't in the hunt to win, so pretty impressive out here. A lot of really deep, talented sailors in this field.
That's fantastic. And it looks like they're getting back into starting sequence right now, but we'll probably have a minute or two before they get moving.
There's another sailor here that was also at the Lightning Worlds, and she was on a boat that finished fourth. She's a B division crew for USF, I believe, Jackie Morrison. So it's pretty cool to see college sailors branching out to those kind of like, higher. It's not a Lightning's not technically a keel boat, but at times it kind of sails like one, and that's pretty cool to see them racing and finishing in the top of those events. It's pretty awesome.
Well, one of the things I was talking about my coach with after finishing the finals was kind of diversifying my sailing experience. So anyone who's coming into college sailing or doing college sailing lots of different types of boats is really helpful just to gain some more experience. And it looks like they're off.
Saw a flag go up on the signal boat. I don't know if it was a general recall flag or a individual recall flag.
We got one boat coming
boats
back and
going
round in
back.
the end. Yep. Second one, third one. Sometimes we've had some trouble with if you're over in a big group, the people on the ends aren't sure who you are until the people around you go back. So you might not find out that you're over until you've been going upwind for a minute.
So if you're just joining us right now, this is race 12. We're getting confused here too in the booth. There's a lot of racing and there's 2 regattas going on with 2 races going on simultaneously. So this is race 13A in the Western semifinals. Currently Harvard is winning the regatta with 120 points. Stanford is in second with 127. Brown is in third with 137. Fourth is Jacksonville with 141. MIT in fifth, 154. Dartmouth in sixth, 180. Georgetown in 7th with 204. St. Mary's in 8th with 208. Charleston Cougars, my alma mater, in 9th, barely making the cutoff with 210, but they are closely followed, just 4 points ahead of Hobart William Smith with 214. So watching the Charleston Cougars and Hobart William Smith in this race is going to be kind of the hot ticket here to see how things are going to shake out for them and who's going to qualify here.
So College of Charleston is currently in boat 8. And Hobart is in boat 3. So those are the boats that we want to watch this race.
All right, 8 and 3.
So here we have 8. They are the 4th boat from the left side of the course, and they've just tacked on to port. And they are moving fast.
Looks like they're sailing in really nice pressure. They're a big duck here, though, on boat 4.
Seems like they really want to keep going on port.
I think that's Jenna Prost, who we were just talking about, who was crewing and won the Lightning Worlds just a few days ago.
Oh, yeah, they're looking really fast upwind. And it looks like that whole group has tacked on to port, and there's a big puff right there.
You know, in these conditions, Mickey, it's so interesting. Sometimes when you're looking the best, you're kind of in the hot seat because it's going to go back. The wind's going to shift back the other way. So sometimes the boats that are looking not so good, by the time, you know, the shift's going to happen before the beat ends. So then now they're going to be at the top of the fleet instead of being in the back because the wind shifts so violently and such large swings in wind direction and pressure here. But we'll see how this pans out.
Well, it definitely reminds me of our home waters at Boston University on the Charles River.
Oh, the wonderful River Chuck.
Yep.
Oh, man, it's not quite that bad, Mickey. Come on.
When it blows from the south or the north, it definitely can be.
Oh, no, I meant the conditions here. I've sailed some crazy things in the Charles River. You got to go into that, sailing in that place with the right mindset that it's just going to be comical at times because if you don't laugh at it, you might be tempted to jump off a boat.
And I think it's important to keep a cool head here as well, because the race flipping and the fleet inverting at times can get you really frustrated. And I think when we had a big shift to the wrong side, you just got to hold on until you get one back. And sometimes you don't. And sometimes the best you can do in a race is 12th, and you just got to make sure to get that 12th and not do any worse than that.
That's a good point. If even though if you're in the back, you're going to be trying to risk it, but you still don't want to do what you know is exactly wrong. You're just going to go further back in the standings, right? So having the mental fortitude to stay where you are and save some of those points can be pretty big too.
Yep. So 8 and 3 right now. That's our battle. See how everyone's doing.
A lot of pressure changes. You can see the boats getting overpowered and then underpowered and then overpowered and then underpowered. There's 8.
Yep,
Wonder
I
where
found
3 is.
3. They're the far left of the screen right now. They've just tacked onto starboard tack in that right
Oh, I see
shift.
them. Yeah, there they are. Maybe if we zoom out a little bit, we might be able to see them. It looks like 8's comfortably ahead of 3 right now with a few boats in between them. Tight cross there on boat 18 for boat 8, but there's 3 But it's never over in this condition, and even in college sailing in general, but especially in these conditions, it's it's possible you could have a fleet inversion like y'all are so accustomed to up on the River Charles up there.
Absolutely. Well, it looks like this train of port tackers is coming in with a lot of speed. 8 is just tacked back onto port, and 3, I believe, is also going that way.
Looks like your leader is going to be boat 13, followed closely by boat 1 out of the right side.
So boat 13 in A Division is the Brown Bears of Olivia Belda and Emma Montgomery.
And then boat 1 is right behind him, Georgetown.
Yeah, these sorry, Blair McCarthy in for Brown. Both seniors, and they bring a wealth of experience to that boat.
We are conveniently sitting in the peanut gallery of the coach's corner over here, so they're filling us in when we were making mistakes, and it is quite helpful.
All right, so we have our top 4 around the mark. Brown Bears in first place. Georgetown Hoyas in second place. Is that boat 4 next around the
It's
mark?
another tight race here, Mickey.
Yeah, it really is, and that's what's so amazing about college. There
are the Cougars right there. I couldn't see their sail number, but they're doing pretty well. They're in the top pack here, so they're looking to keep that spot and keep 3 behind them. 3's having a bit of a tough one right now, but anything can happen in these wind conditions.
Yep, we've got boat 3.
Just rounding the weather mark right now.
Just a few places behind, but in terms of the distance, it's close, and they're going to be able to make a push and try and get that national spot.
Yeah,
sure.
and they have a big pack right in front of them too. So if they can somehow get around that pack, it's going to be a lot better for them.
Yep, and navigating that dirty air from behind, from the boats that are right behind you, can be really tough. And sometimes the leaders feel the pressure, and it's a great chance to try and overtake.
Yeah, it looks like the fleet's really compressing here. The back of the fleet has gotten a nice puff, and it's bringing them up to the front of the fleet, which are in a hole. So the whole race is going to go a little topsy-turvy here possibly, or at least get a lot tighter. It already was tight. So this could be quite interesting to see how this run pans out and how they end up at the bottom mark.
Yep, so this left pack looking downwind is catching some good breeze, and they are really catching up.
I think boat 3's taking a chunk out of the leaders up there for sure. This is getting more and more exciting as we go.
So boat 3 is Hobart and William Smith Colleges with Ella Withington skippering and Anna McBride crewing.
Again, for the Cougars right now in boat A8, is Grace Squires, and crewing is Kayla Woodard.
Kalia, so she...
Kalia, sorry.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so she is a California native as well. She went to Point Loma High School.
Oh.
Very talented sailor, and probably brings a wealth of experience to that team.
Yeah, Point Loma, Steve Hunt, the coach there, really does a great job of producing some really great sailors and great young ladies and young gentlemen out of there. He's been doing that for a while.
Yep.
They've definitely been a powerhouse of high school sailing for quite a while. So, if you're a college coach, you're trying to that'd be one of the teams I'd be trying to grab sailors from personally.
Absolutely. I had the opportunity to work with Steve at the Skyra Clinic, which is a Southern California clinic last November. And I was just really impressed by the way he worked and the way he coached sailing. So I'm sure his sailors who are currently competing in college are doing great.
So the fleet is really compressed here. A lot of boats, most people are opting to take a right turn here, but there's already a few that have taken a left as well. So, man, is it tight there. That's pretty hard to navigate which side you're going to go around if you're stuck in the middle. Kind of tactically trying to approach the leeward gate from a side so that you have inside right away going around the mark, because if you get stuck in the middle, you end up on the outside of what we call a pinwheel, and it's just lost space, lost distance, lost boats.
Yep. So if you're on an edge, you're looking good going downwind. But if you're in the middle, you either need to try and get outside or go really slow to not go, stop your boat so you don't go around the outside of that pinwheel.
Yeah, one of those times in sailboat racing where it's interesting. You slow down to go faster, right?
Yep. So it looks like the leaders are about split 50-50. Half of them are on starboard tack, and half of them are on port, but all of them are hiking really hard right now. The wind is strong. And it looks like boat 1, Georgetown Hoyas, is leading boat 18, which just tacked onto port, St. Mary's Seahawks.
Georgetown looking good with their weight together there, kind of moving as one cohesive unit as a team.
Yep, and this pair is Piper Holthus and Victoria Boatwright. Piper is a freshman, actually, very talented sailor, and she won the Club 420 National Championship last summer. So
Oh, wow.
She is a very strong sailor, and her crew is Victoria Boatwright, who is a senior. So she's getting a little bit of tactical help
All
from
right.
a really
Yeah.
experienced sailor.
Winning that Club 420 Nationals is not usually an easy feat, so that's great.
Yep, so it looks like the majority of the leaders are back on port now, looking to consolidate. And we have a few boats that are going right, and I see a decent-sized puff that they're about to hit and probably tack right into.
It does look like looks like more boats have been playing the right side of the course again this time, and I'd probably try to hedge that way if I was racing out there as well. It just looks like the breeze kind of dies out on the left side as you get towards the top of the race course.
Yep, it definitely gets a little streaky up there.
Really big puff leaving the land right now. It's going to hit those right boats first.
What'd you say? Right generally tends to come in here, huh?
You know, usually where the course is, the wind kind of funnels down this fairway that's to our right in the booth here, and it bursts out the fairway onto the lake. And if the course is where it is right now, I'd probably be sailing right there. But if you move the course a little bit further to the east, then you have another geographical change in the lake edge, and that might be more favorable to go left over there. So, it's really, like we were saying earlier, you just got to keep your head out of the boat and keep looking upwind and setting up for the changes in pressure and velocity and heading.
Well, I agree local knowledge is definitely helpful, but nothing beats using your eyes.
So it looks like this boat's actually going to come in from the left all right here. I don't know if they're going to cross boat 4 or 10. That's the Georgetown team we were just looking at a second ago.
Yep, and the crew, Victoria Boatwright's pointing out for pressure. Both of them are hiking really hard, and that boat is moving fast. And here they are going for attack here. Cover boat 4, the Michigan Wolverines.
I think they tacked a little bit underneath them. The boat 4 might have overlaid a little bit here. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think so. So let's see. Both it's a drag race right now, and they're just trying to make it around the top marks. So let's see what happens.
I think both these boats are going to lay the mark here. If we zoom out a little bit, might be able to see the mark. There it is.
Yep, I agree. So what are your boat 1? You're thinking about jibing right away in this righty? But what about you're the leader? You may not want to.
Yeah, we also have this thing that I like to call the cone of death up at the top. If you jibe immediately, you sail on into the bad air and bad waves from the boats that are in a tight cone at the top of the course. So usually you try to wait a little bit before you jibe, just so you don't sail yourself into the big hole underneath all the other sails.
Well, it looks like the boat in the 2 is not cooperating right now, and they're both jib reaching. So either they have a puff or that boat that's inside just is really trying to overtake.
So where are 8 and 3? That was the thing that's the battle for the entry into the national championship. Got to finish in the top 9. So I see 3. I don't know what happened to 8.
So 3 just tacked onto port right now. Great roll tack, and they're coming into starboard ley line, but they've got quite a few boats in front of them.
Yes, they do. So you got to assume, I can't find boat 8 on our screen here, but you got to assume that they're pretty far ahead of boat 3 here. There they are.
There's 8, so they're in 5th or 6th place right now.
Yeah, so looking good for the Cougars here.
Yep, and right next to them is boat number 14, Harvard.
So if you're just tuning in here, the top 9 from each semifinal, Eastern and Western, qualify for the Nationals. And in 9th currently in the Western semifinals is the College of Charleston with 210 points. And in 10th is Hobart William Smith, Statesman, with 214 points. So if this race finishes as it is right now, the Cougars are going to extend that lead and make it harder for Hobart to try and catch up in the last race of the event.
But the gap is still small, and anything can happen. You want to watch the FJ race?
So the 420 fleet with the angry green wave of the Western semifinals, they're on their final run to the finish, or do you think they might come back upwind for a 5-legger?
Yep.
But the Eastern semifinals and the FJs have just gotten going. You can see them in the back of the screen here. So let's see where we are. Who's on the cusp? Who's going to make it to the Nationals in the Eastern? Who's battling it out? I think we have Tufts and USF.
Yep.
Refreshing the scores here. Tufts are in 9th with 221, and South Florida's in 10th with 229, so they got to make up 8 points here.
Yep, we're in A division right now in the Eastern semifinals, and they're heading upwind. They just had their start, and they're moving up the course with the majority of the fleet on starboard tack, or at least the leaders. They're starting to flip over onto port, though.
So do we know which boats, Mickey, that Tufts and South Florida are in?
Yep, so Tufts is in boat 5, and South Florida is in boat 11. So that is
there's 11 on your screen right there.
that's a battle I would watch this race. So 11's in a pretty good spot. If they can hold on to windward here of boat 18, they'll be able to stay in that lane for a long, long time. But it does look like they're falling off a little bit.
Oh, boat 5 is actually ahead of 11 over there out of the course left. Look at that, far right on our screen here. Looks like they got a pretty comfortable lead on boat 11, actually. So the Tufts Tough Jumbos already have 8 points in front of South Florida Bulls. Oh, yep, that's correct.
Yep, the Tufts Jumbos are trying to extend their lead, but the USF Bulls are not far behind, and there's plenty of opportunities to catch up here.
Yeah, but they still got to make up 8 points on them here, Mickey. So they're going to have to get in front of them and then put a bunch of boats in between them. That's going to be tough going for them, I think. But you're right. I mean, it is shifty. It is kind of crazy sailing out there. So certainly never over till it's over.
Yep, it has been done, but it's definitely not easy.
Wow, that's a big shift on the left side for the Tufts Jumbos in boat 5. They're pointing above the mark currently on port tack.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good. But you know, the thing about the wind is it always tends to come back. So
You're right about that.
That right pack may be looking pretty good in a moment or two.
Yeah.
And this red boat here, boat 8, is my team, the Boston University Terriers, with Tiare Sierra, a freshman, driving, and veteran senior crew, Gabby Schmidt, crewing. She's a senior. And it looks like, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Looks like they're in second place in this race. Pretty good result.
This is a very big left shift.
Yep.
Like, wow.
This is the biggest we've seen all day.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty wildly big shift there.
Wow, and
it was coming out of the right for so long there, you know. I mean, we just had a general recall not too long ago with people stacking up at the right end of the starboard end of the line, the boat end of the line, and now look at this lefty. Like I said, the only local knowledge on Lake Pontchartrain is that there really isn't any.
Fair enough. And if you're one of these boats that's wound up on the outside of the shift, you just got to hold on and hope that it comes back. But I think actually those who...
It's gone so far, they might lay the mark, you know, so...
Those who are really close are actually overstanding. So I think our new leader might be boat 6.
That's pretty wild to see. It's kind of a fleet inversion. You know, we were talking about the Tufts in boat 5 looking really good, and then they got lifted so far that the boats that were way behind them, underneath them, are now laying the mark, and Tufts having to reach down into the mark. That's a tough spot to be in.
And
Like 0 to 0 kind of deal there.
yep, coming around in first are the UPenn Quakers in boat 4, followed by the Yale Bulldogs in boat 6.
Really tight race here with that kind of shift. It's really condensed everything.
We got boat 11. We cut away, but boat 11, the USF Bulls coming in. Oh, huge stack up on Mark 1. And a lot of boats are stopped there.
Yeah, Tufts is really close right behind them, though, right behind them. So they're really, luckily for them, they have that 8-point buffer.
Yep, so 11 and 5, these two boats that are fighting for the Nationals berth are right next to each other. So they're going to be really fighting hard to get ahead of the other boat. And it looks like the Bulls are going around just ahead of Tufts Jumbos.
Yeah, you know, and this is still A division here. So even if South Florida doesn't take all 8 points away from Tufts, they have a whole nother race in their B division set to try to make up for the difference there. So, you know, it's still very tight.
Yep, so we have 5 and 11. Now they're both wing on wing, switching that jib over onto the opposite side of the main, and 5 is sitting right on 11's air trying to get past. So what would you be doing if you were 5 and you were trying to get ahead?
Well, you know, the main thing, I think I'd try to stay close to him if I'm behind him so that it can't put more boats between the two of us. But also, I think trying to use your wind indicators on your shroud, the little cassette tape that most people tie onto there, point that thing dead at the boat, the middle of their main sail plan or their sail plan, trying to keep my mast the same angle as their mast and trying to create as much bad air for them as I can.
Yep. So it looks like the Western Conference and the 420s are finishing right now at the top of the course. In boat 10, special shout out for the Dartmouth Big Green, a friend of mine, Gray Hemmons, who I believe is a freshman this year, starting in Nationals.
It is getting wacky out there, Mickey. It's very, very holy. There's wind in some spots and not much wind in other spots, and you might have another pseudo fleet inversion here in a minute.
Yeah, the day has
Restart,
really
kinda.
evolved. I feel like it was windy and really crazy for a while, and now it's becoming light and patchy and tactical sailing. Great thing is it really tests the sailors' physical strength and their mental strength.
So in the Western semifinals, race 13A, I believe, just finished. The scores should be updated soon here, and that'll set up the show for the final 13B race to see who goes to the Nationals and who goes home.
So what are the scores looking like right now?
In the Western semifinals, Harvard is in first with 120. Well, they haven't added in 13A yet, so we're just reading off the same scores that we did a few minutes ago.
Copy, no worries.
So I wonder where boats 5 and 11 are. They're sailing further away. They're sailing almost dead away from where we are sitting on land, so the numbers are getting smaller and smaller and harder to see. And it looks like a really tight race here. There's 5. 11 looks like they've got
They've built a little bit of a gap.
Definitely two boats in between them and 5 right now. So that if it finishes like it is right now, they'd narrow it down to 6 points, which is a little bit more manageable than 8 points between the two teams. But they still have to go back upwind, right?
Absolutely. So with the upwind, you can see things spread out a bit. I was thinking about it as an accordion. On the downwind, things really compress because the people in the back get the puffs first.
11 didn't make it inside of either of those boats. So they're just barely in front of the Tufts Jumbos in boat 5 right now.
Just one in front.
But they're in a good position to maybe kind of put the hurt on boat 5 if they have the ability to, and try to drive them back and put some boats in between them.
Yep, so if I'm 5, I'd probably be pretty happy with my position here.
I'd be really happy with it. They could have been a lot worse for them on the run.
Absolutely.
At one moment it was.
They neutralized that lead pretty quickly. So we've got 5 and 11 right here, neck and neck, and 11's really looking to build up a gap. The boats in front of those two all have tacked onto port, and I can see some pressure coming off the left side as well. So these guys might be looking to do that as well when they have a lane.
Feels like the wind is coming back up a little bit. It was really light there for a minute, but some nice puffs leaving the shore up here.
Yeah, it's very, very streaky out there, but to me, I see one puff off of port ley line and then a lot more wind past that. And here's a battle for the race win right now. So we've got boat 4, which is the UPenn Quakers, currently leading the race on port tack with 5 the jumbos and 11 the bulls right behind.
So interesting note about the jumbos, the Tufts jumbos. 5 out of the 6 sailors are on the women's team here are graduating seniors.
Wow.
So they're graduating a large portion of their women's team and probably a large portion of their whole team for that many people, just in the women's team graduating.
Well, the same is happening with a lot of schools here. Brown is graduating several seniors. So new high schoolers, incoming students are coming, and they're getting a big opportunity to fill some big shoes. And that's what's pretty cool. When you're a new freshman, you have the people above you are leaving, and you have that role that you can come in and fill eventually.
Yeah, if you're the coach of a team that's losing a lot of sailors to graduation, you really got to make sure you have some good incoming talent.
Yep. Well, it is cool for those sailors that are coming in. Here we have a couple freshmen starting in nationals, which may not be possible if they're as an experienced senior there. So it's a great opportunity for these sailors.
Absolutely.
So it looks like 5 has gotten ahead of 11 and is building a bit of a lead.
Oh yeah, this is a great shot for the viewers at home. They can really see how puffy it is, how light it is in some spots where boat 10 is right now, and they're kind of sitting in the boat. Boat 6 is full out hiking, fully overpowered. So that's what the sailors have been trying to deal with and navigate with all day, is just really up and down in the velocity and the wind direction.
Yep, and I feel like things are starting to the wind's declining a bit, but there's still some puffs to find around the course. And that's our current leader, boat number 6, bringing it home. But there's a big pack right behind with 2, 12, 5, and 11. And that's the Navy Midshipmen, Northeastern Huskies, the Tufts Jumbos, and the South Florida Bulls.
So they have the scores updated here for the Western semifinals. Right now we're currently watching the Eastern semifinals in their 13A race. And it looks like Charleston has moved up to 8th. St. Mary's is in 9th, and Hobart is about 13 points outside looking into 9th place in 10th place.
So that's our bubble team here, and on the 420s are headed out right now, and on that last race, the Hobart William Smith Statesmen are going to need to beat the St. Mary's Seahawks by 13 points. So they're really hoping that St. Mary's fouls or has a general, but otherwise it's a pretty big lead.
Oh, they could beat the Cougars by 16 points. That's a little bit harder to do.
Yeah.
13's pretty hard too, but
I
at
guess
least they have 2 options. It's better
Yeah.
than just one.
Yeah. So what are you doing with such a big gap? Are you trying to push someone over? Are you trying to draw a penalty? How are you going to deal with it?
It's a tough thing to do in this really wacky, crazy wind conditions. In order to put that many points on one of those teams or the other, you have to be in the top 3. At least. Just
Absolutely.
about. So if you're going to be aggressive and attack a boat, that usually doesn't bode well for finishing good in the race. You might have to have a very specific moment in time where you could, put a little hurt on one of those teams. Maybe it's at the start, or maybe it's one point in the race you might be able to tack on them and send them the wrong way. But it's going to have an opportunity to kind of present itself for them, if it was my opinion. You could try to push them over at the line, but usually when you tangle yourself up like that, it doesn't bode well for you finishing in the top 3 or 5.
Absolutely. So Who knows? Perhaps this one will end up in the protest room or
Oh
something
boy,
like
let's
that.
not hope for that.
I don't want to be here that long.
Why'd you even say that?
So we've got the Eastern Conference heading downwind right now.
Eastern Conference and the FJs, they go back downwind and then back upwind, finish upwind. So they got one more gate rounding and then they finish upwind. And then they send their B division team out.
So on screen right now
After
are in number 8 BU Terriers, number 1 the Northwestern Wildcats, who had that man overboard drill earlier.
Oh, right.
And we also have number 14 the Old Dominion Monarchs. So plenty of really, really great sailors out here.
OD who? ODU, yeah. Yeah, I was just joined earlier before you got here, Mickey, by a sailor from ODU, Parker Purrington.
Yeah, Mitch Brindley, the coach there, has been a big help for me the last few years. I sail 470s when I'm not doing college sailing, and he's helped me find some crews, helped me with boats, and he's just a really great guy to help advance the sport, and a good guy to know around college sailing.
He's the president of ICSA, right?
Yes, he is.
Yep. So where do you think boat 5 and 11 are here?
Well,
See how that's played out for them. They've gotten far away again, kind of hard to see. But that's the battle, right? I think at this point in the race where it was at the weather mark, if you're in boat 11 and you are a...
USF Bull?
I think this is... right. That's correct. I think you're just trying to put a few points on them. I don't think you're going to get the whole thing done now and then leave it up to your B division skipper to try and finish it off.
And that's exactly what happened to us. So I'm the B division skipper for Boston University, and it came down to the final race as well, where we had to hold off another surging team. So these B sailors are really, they have the most pressure at the end of the event.
Absolutely. And a lot of teams will opt to, if they have a skipper or crew or both that are more experienced in match racing, a lot of teams in the past have opted to put that sailor in B division throughout the year because it comes down to the B races, the last race of the regatta. It's a pretty solid tactic, in my opinion, to have that. I remember when I was sailing, Taylor Canefield was sailing B division for BC, and Tyler Sinks was sailing A, and Taylor really got the job done by sailing in B division using his match racing skills at some events.
Well, that's a guy you really don't want to be tied with going into the last race. And I see 11 rounding right now, USF Bulls. Do we know if 5 is
I
ahead?
believe 5's ahead of him by 2 or 3 boats.
Copy.
So if you're the Bulls, you're trying to sneak around here, take advantage of one of these big pressure shifts. And if you're the jumbos, you have your crew pretty much spying on where they're going the whole time, trying to stay with them, not allowing them to get around you.
Yep. Well, those big shifts are definitely there if you can find them, and there's plenty of opportunities to catch up. Looks like boat 6 still leading the race.
There's boat 5 in the middle of our screen coming at us right there.
Moving really, really fast. It looks like there's a great wind on the course right now, with about half the fleet on port and about half the fleet on starboard.
Oh, there's 5. I'm sorry. Oh, maybe I mixed them up. They're in the middle of our screen right now.
Now we got 5 right behind boat 8, Boston University Terriers.
There you go.
They're looking to try and qualify, but there's a large points gap, so they're going to need to do some really great sailing to make it happen.
Really good work on boat 8. They're playing the jib in and out as those puffs come, especially if there's lifting puffs. You make sure the jib's out so the bow can come up. Trying to keep the boat at a constant angle of heel all the time is really hard in this condition, but it's very, very important.
Yep, really talented teams out here all around. And it looks like that lifting puff that you mentioned is happening. It looks like the entire fleet is on port now, and they're pretty wound up.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if it's going to go all the way left like it did the last beat.
I'm not sure.
Doesn't feel like it.
No, the angle is still pointing towards shore, so let's see what happens. And auto tack from boat 4, so they may have gotten a right shift.
Yeah, currently where we're sitting quite a bit upwind of the race course, there's breeze flowing from the west almost, which would probably indicate a large right shift is coming.
Maybe something like what happened on that start that they had to call back.
Possibly. There it is. See all the boats tacking kind of at once there.
Yep, and it really speaks to the quality of this fleet that you'll have 5 or 6 or 7 boats just tack at the exact same time on that exact same shift.
And there's 5. I think they still have 11 behind them. They do have a nice 8-point buffer.
Yep, 11 is about 2 places behind, but the gap in distance is quite large. So, looks like the right is starting to come in pretty strong right now. And we're coming into the finish. Got 6 just about to cross the line with a big lead. So congratulations to those Yale Bulldogs.
I've got some sly friends on the YouTube channel comment section. Questions don't really pertain to the racing, so we won't address them, but they're pretty funny people, those two.
Fair enough.
Nice to see you, Guy and Patrick. Thanks for tuning
friends of
in.
yours?
Thanks for tuning. Yep. Guy Briere is a recent past Commodore here at SYC. Known him for a long time.
Oh,
Great guy.
fabulous.
We sailed across the Gulf of Mexico with him one time. And Patrick's a very close friend, non-sailor friend.
Fair enough. So we're coming into the finish here with 4, 8, and 11, which is the UPenn Quakers, who were leading the race for a while. The BU Terriers, and in number 14 is the Old Dominion Monarchs. And it looks like the Penn Quakers are a little overstood. And we've got 14 crossing the line right now.
Yeah, things got pretty spread out up there between the top group, or 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe.
Yep, I think in this wind direction, it's definitely a lot more strung out versus a few days ago when it was coming from the club. Everything was really, really tight. But in the middle of the fleet, and especially on the first few legs, it's still 5 or 6 boats arriving to a mark at the exact same time.
So this is 13A you're watching right now, wrapping up on your screen in the FJs of the Eastern Women's Semifinals. There is one race left for them, 13B. And in just a moment, we are going to start 13B, the final race for the Western Championship semifinals, sorry.
Yep, so the 420s here, all the way on the left, are getting ready to start. And once again, we have quite a few, or one close battle here for the 9th position to make the final cut. And we got the last of the fleet going through the line.
So this marks the start of Zim Sailing's 5-year sponsorship of ICSA in coordination with West Coast Sailing and Dwyer Mast and Rigging. As official suppliers of college sailing, they are dedicated to supporting and giving back to collegiate sailing. Zim was established in 2008 by Steve Perry in Bristol, Rhode Island. The Zim team quickly established itself as the leading supplier of collegiate and institutional boats, focusing on moving dinghy sailing forward. Today, Zim Sailing is the largest manufacturer and distributor of small sailboats in North America and is the exclusive manufacturer of the 420E sailboat. Furthermore, they charter small sailboats at most major regattas around the country and support events with their trailers full of gear and parts. Their sponsorship of college sailing is a natural next step in helping to move dinghy sailing forward and grow the sport. For all gear, boat, or parts related questions, their team can be reached via their web store at zimsailing.com. This year marks the start of West Coast Sailing's 5-year sponsorship of ICSA. In coordination With Zim Sailing and Dwyer Mass and Rigging as official suppliers of college sailing, they are dedicated to supporting and giving back to collegiate sailing. West Coast Sailing was founded in 2005 by former college sailor George Eolas. His team of passionate sailors has made it a priority to lead North America and support the dinghy racing and small keelboat market. Based in Portland, Oregon, they stock the best dinghy sailing necessities. With a focus on boats, parts, apparel, line, and accessories, they really lean into their expertise and knowledge of serving the industry for the last 17 years. Since many of their staff came up through the youth and collegiate sailing, supporting ICSA is an honor and remains true to their roots. For all gear, boat, or parts-related questions, their team can be reached via their web store at westcoastsailing.net. Thank you to our sponsors. All right, so it looks like 13B of our Western semifinal championship is about to get underway. They're probably under a minute to the start.
And
This is the last race of the regatta for them, so it's do or die for the teams on the cusp here, Mickey.
And how are those scores looking? I believe you said it was a 13-point gap.
I think it was 13. Yeah, Hobart William Smith is 13 behind St. Mary's in 9th place.
All right.
And they're 16 points behind 8th place with College of Charleston with 214 points. So Hobart William Smith has their work cut out for him here. Let's see if we can figure out what boat Hobart, St. Mary's, and Charleston are in. I think Charleston's going to be in boat 7. All right, the race has just started. It's do or die here for the sailors on the cusp looking from the outside in.
So make sure to keep an eye on the St. Mary's Seahawks in number 17 and the Hobart and William Smith Statesmen in boat 4.
Looks like 4 is on the far right of our screen. That means on the left side of the course, maybe 2 boats up from the pin, 1 or 2 boats. Looks like they had a pretty good start. So the trick here is to find where the Seahawks are.
That's boat 17.
17.
Right
so they're
to windward
sticking
of
right
10,
with them.
yeah.
Yep, that makes sense. If you're a Seahawk, I wouldn't want to get too far away from the boat that needs to beat you by 13 points.
No, I wouldn't either. So here we are. We got 17, which is starting to squeeze past boat 10. And we have boat 4 of the Hobart and William Smith Statesmen.
So if you're in 17 here, what would you be doing, Mickey?
Try and hang on to that lane and not let boat 4 get away. I mean, 13 places is a lot. And so if you can just stay on starboard tack and stay in the same general vicinity, you'll be fine. And just make sure you don't foul or get caught on an anchor line or, have your mast fall down.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if they stay in the same zip code, they're going to be all right.
I agree. So in boat 17 is the St. Mary's Seahawks of Madison Bashaw and Ellie Sikowski. And in boat 4 for Hobart is Heather Kearns and Frances Depke. Frances is a freshman.
That's Hobart in boat 4, right? 4 and 17. That's who we're looking for. Okay.
So right now, boat 4 is moving fast and in control of quite a big pack. And I would expect... they're tacking on to port now.
I think they're trying to get over there and consolidate 17 and put a little hurt on them while they can. If they think that you would only tack there if you thought you had 17. So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
they
do
were
have them, but they're letting them go to the left. 17's doing a great job staying right with them. So
Yep.
as long as they stay next to them, that's why I think if I was in boat 4, I might have tacked on them there.
Well, in
To
some
force them
situations,
going the opposite direction of me, that allowed them just to tack on your hip and stay right with you. So,
in some situations,
but look, they might be getting a little help here actually.
yeah, exactly.
Inadvertently.
Well, it looks like this whole pack is holding on port and moving fast, and the bad air compounds on boat 17, so over time they could fall further and further back.
They're doing a good job sailing in a really small seam, though.
They're really
You can see
ripping.
the crew on boat 4 pointing out the pressure. I think what she's actually pointing out from our perspective here in the booth is a big hole the whole fleet's about to sail into. So that could really shake things up. And looking on the far right side of the course, it would be left of her screen. There's a few boats over there that are sailing in a lot more wind than the boats on the left. So we'll see how that pans out. It doesn't really matter much between 4 and 17 that there's wind on the right because the race is between those two boats. But it could give the hole that's in front of the boats on the left for 4 and 17 could provide an opportunity for a little bit of a shakeup and some points to get spread in there.
I think boat 17 should be fine here. One of the things that college sailing, especially team racing, teaches you is how to sail in a tight lane or in bad air and to keep fast. And I think they're going to be just fine there. But there's plenty of big shifts left in this race. And 4 has wheels right now.
Yeah, 17's doing a really good job staying right there with them. 17 is the St. Mary's Seahawks. 4 is the Tufts Jumbos. Whoa, big duck on
big
17
duck from
here. That's
17.
going to kind of evaporate their lane. Now they're in bad air, probably from boat 4.
Thankfully, the wind is pretty strong, so I think the bad air will be less of an issue. But
Good point.
yeah, it was a really big duck. They must really want to continue on port tack.
Yeah, I don't think they want to split from it. Just like what we were saying earlier, you want to stay in the same zip code, right?
Yeah, well, right now there's not much starboard tack left for this group. The marks are, I'd say, if you're on boat 4, the marks would be at around 11 o'clock. So one of the things that I teach younger kids when I do sailing, learn to sail, is if the mark is at your back, it's time to tack, and they're all pointed straight at it.
4's doing a good. 4 had to be in the top 3-ish in order to mathematically make it possible mathematically to put enough boats out of the 18 of them between them and the Seahawks. So they've got that key to the puzzle. But
I think they have the race lead.
The one they don't have, though, is the 13 points yet.
Wow. It looks like 4 has the race lead right now as long as they can make the top mark.
Yeah. 17 has got to keep a few boats behind them here. They still have a few boats behind them.
So right now
not time to panic if you're on 17, I tell you that. Just stay calm, cool, collected, get around the mark, keep 5 boats behind you, and everything's okay.
So right now 4 is doing everything they really can to try and snag that national spot, but 17 is in hot pursuit. And in second place we have boat 5 of Vermont Catamounts, I believe, and boat 13 of the Harvard Crimson.
It's really gotten light up there at the top. Look at that.
Yeah, but I feel a little bit of wind up here in the commentary booth off the deck, so might expect some new pressure to fill in soon.
Well, it's like Pontchartrain. If it's what it is right now is not what it's going to be in a minute.
Fair enough. And they're going downwind right now. It's a tight pack up front, and this is really close racing right now. Got boat 4 for Hobart, closely followed by 5 and 13, and then boat 9 for Dartmouth, which is Gray Hemmons and Eloise Byrne, and boat 15 from Jacksonville. And one of the things with these 420s, which is pretty cool, is that the vang is led back to the skipper on the side tanks. So you have to remember to let it off when you go downwind. Our coach preaches that all the time, and it looks like 4 and 15 are doing a great job of that. But it's something that you can and should adjust often.
Absolutely. It's one of the only things you can adjust on the college sailing boats, right?
Fair enough. So it looks like a big puff is on the course left and moving these boats downwind. And it also looks like the Eastern semifinal is sailing out right now and get ready for their last start of the regatta.
That's right. That's right. 4's doing a pretty good job staying in front up there. Usually when you round in a lull like that, the next thing that happens is a puff. And if you're going downwind, the boats behind you get it sooner before you, and that brings them all up to you and around you, or at least compresses. So they've done a good job staying in the front.
Yeah,
Hopefully they can continue to do that. It's not
rounding
easy conditions to stay in first place, I'll tell you that.
rounding the top mark close and tight with other boats is always hard when you're the leader and you're just trying to work your way around that bad air and stay in front.
So St. Mary's still hanging on to that 6th or 7th-ish, maybe 8th-ish spot. So they're pretty happy with that, and they've managed to put a decent amount of a buffer between them and the boats behind them. So they're looking pretty good right now. And there's really not all that much that Hobart can really do. If they go back to try to attack St. Mary's, they're going to lose all the points they have between them right now.
Yep.
So you kind of just got to try to win the race at this point and hope that St. Mary's makes a mistake.
Well, it looks like St. Mary's is in the 6 right now with great speed. They just sailed right past this other boat here. And it's going to be tough for Hobart to eke out a lead and try and win this race by a big enough margin, although they did just round the right turn in first. So we've got 17 from St. Mary's coming around the bottom mark right now, getting ready to go upwind. And they're hiking hard. Well, not that hard. It's a little light.
Looks like the breeze is building back up there in the distance. I can see some rain falling out of a cloud. Usually around here you try to sail towards the storm if it's raining. So it could be a big shift, though, coming before this race is over. It looks like that storm is on the north side of us, so probably not going to change direction all that much. But you know, if I'm in the, it's kind of like a little bit of a prayer for if you're winning the race right now to try to put some more boats between you and St. Mary's.
Yep. So they're trying to stay lifted here, and it looks like we had 3 boats just tack onto port. And Hobart's moving really quick. They're looking back. You can see the skipper turning their head, probably wondering, where is St. Mary's right now?
Oh, yeah, that's definitely where they're looking.
And they are alone on starboard tack right now. The other boats have tacked onto port, and Hobart is coming with. And now it looks like some of these boats on the right might have a bit of a puff.
So if you're just joining us, we're watching the 13B, the last and final race of the Western Women's College semifinals. And the main story of this race is who's going to qualify, who's going to finish in the top 9 overall in this regatta. Right now we have Hobart Williams Smith 13 points behind St. Mary's in 9th with 217 points. So they're doing well in this race. They have been so far, but they need to put a few more boats between them and St. Mary's in order to spring themselves into the 9th place position and qualify for the Nationals. There's 17 on your screen right there, pretty darn close to Hobart. 17's doing a great job of staying with boat 4, not allowing them out of their zip code, if you will, so that it becomes harder for that boat to put points between them.
Yep, well, we've got boat 4 currently doing everything they can and winning the race right now. So 4 in the 1, and we have 17, which they're in about 4th place right now. So barring anything crazy happening, I think St. Mary's are going to hold on to this one.
Yeah, I agree with you here. Well, it's going to have to be some weird things, but it is Lake Pontchartrain, So
Yep.
Just a quick rundown of the Western semifinals from the leaderboard. First, Harvard. Second, Stanford. Third, Brown. Fourth, Jacksonville. Fifth, MIT. Sixth, Dartmouth. Seventh, Georgetown. Eighth, Charleston. Ninth, St. Mary's. 10th, Hobart and William Smith. 11th, George Washington. 12th, Michigan. 13th, Vermont. 14th, Fordham. 15th, Connecticut College. 16th, Hawaii. 17th, Rhode Island. And 18th, UC Santa Barbara. Wow, that's some left angle there on boat 13 and 17. Wow.
Yep, and I feel like 4 may have lost the lead. It looks like boat 5 got a big puff. And here you'll see 4 coming together with boat 13, which is the Harvard Crimson of Cordelia Byrne and Juliana Ruggieri. Thank you, Byrne.
We are sitting on the deck here at Southern Yacht Club, and the coaches are standing right behind us. So it's kind of interesting. It's helpful at times.
At times. Currently, we have boat 5 of the Vermont Catamounts, which are currently leading this race. A NISA team, my conference, and they're way up north on a lake, but they are very competitive, and they work hard and train in the cold, much like we do at Boston University.
The cold, man.
Yeah.
I'm not built for that stuff.
Fair enough. I grew up in Southern California, so it's been a bit of an adjustment, and I think I'm still adjusting. So we got 4 coming around, boat number 4, which is Hobart, coming around in the 2. And we have boat number 17, which is St. Mary's, coming around in P5 right now. So Hobart hasn't done enough yet to get a nationals berth, but they're doing all they can.
And in the Eastern semifinal, they're about to start the final race, 13B. Looks like they're on the final approach to the line.
And it looks like the Eastern Conference is off right now.
Here they are.
Yep, so it looks like the 4 boats at the pin, or who got off at the pin end of the line, are leading right now. They got a small gap that's starting to form. We have a few boats who tacked out early, who may have gotten flushed from their lane, but the vast majority of the fleet is on starboard tack right now, going upwind, and it looks like they're coming to some pressure.
And in this race, we have, I've got the scores wrong. Focusing on qualifying in the top 9 here for this race, we have Tufts Jumbos in 9th with 221 points, South Florida in 10th with 229 points. So those are the 2 teams to watch. I think Tufts is probably in boat 6. Is that right?
So we're looking for South Florida in boat 12 and Tufts in boat 6.
Yep.
Correct.
All right.
So if you check out the colored sails over here, these are the FJs. And this is their final race of the
There's
regatta.
boat 6 right there. So that's the Jumbos right there that are trying to hang on to 9th place overall and qualify for the national championship. South Florida is in boat 12, crossing ahead or behind of them here. Looks like they're
ahead.
behind them.
Oh, behind.
Yep, they're behind them there. Nice little trick. You use the mast height there, and whichever one's lower is the boat that's further away. Doesn't always work, but it's most of the time.
I'm learning from a pro right now. And
so that's good for the Jumbos, not so good for South Florida that needs to put 8 points on the Jumbos.
Yep, last few races, the Jumbos have been putting in some clutch performances and really working to extend that lead.
Who do we have sailing in those boats?
So in boat 6 for Tufts University, we have Chloe Holder, a junior, with crew Paige Tyler, who's a senior. For the University of South Florida Bulls, we have Sydney Monahan, who's a junior, and Jackie Morrison, who is also a junior. We trained against them for a spring break trip this winter against the South Florida Bulls, and they are very formidable sailors. But we also race against Tufts all the time, and I had a regatta on Mystic Lake this past spring, and they are also stiff competition.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be able to coach Chloe when I was working in San Francisco Yacht Club out on the West Coast when she was growing up. Great sailor, great gal. And then I was just at the Lightning Worlds with Jackie Morrison. We were sailing in different boats, but it's kind of interesting to see this battle come down to 2 people that I happen to know that are in college sailing. I've been removed from it for quite a while, so it's kind of exciting to see 2 sailors battling it out here
Fair enough.
that I've been able to know over the past few years?
So it looks like leading the fleet right now is Boat 1 in the red sail of the Navy Midshipman. And right behind is Boat 6, which is Tufts. And then below Boat 1, I believe, is Boat 11, which is the Northeastern Huskies. And underneath Boat 6 is Boat 7 with the Boston University Terriers, a teammate of mine, Lucy Paskoff, and crew that I sailed with in the Open semis and Open finals, Maddie Stahl. And she's also, I believe, from San Francisco Yacht Club.
Oh, that's right. I coached her too when she was growing up in high school sailing out of San Francisco Yacht Club.
Small world.
I know. I'm looking forward to maybe catching up with them after this race is over.
And we got 17 right now, which is the home team, Tulane Green Wave. And they look like they've got some wheels right now. They're really moving. A few boats are on port tack. And it looks like the racing is still really tight right now. But we have Boat 17, home team, extending their lead right now.
Tulane Green Wave is currently sitting in 5th place.
So
Comfortably qualifying here.
I believe they're safe.
Yep, and I think they're winning this race right now too.
Yep. Well, don't count out that right side of the course. I see a puff parked right over starboard ley line. So whoever can get to that first is going to rocket up in the standings of this race. And it's still tight racing right now.
Sailing for Tulane right now, I think we have Caroline Benson with Abigail Borgard. Pardon me if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. Crewing for her.
And the fleet, for the most part, is on port. But like I said, I think when they get to this puff on the right side, boats 3 and 9 have it right now, along with boat 8. They're going to be auto-tacking onto starboard tack.
I think 17 is going to get to the ley line before they get to those boats, so it's going to be all right for them. But
yep. So right now we are watching the battle between the Tufts Jumbos, who are currently in 9th position, just above the cut line for finals, and the USF Bulls, who are in 12th, are boat number 12 in 10th and need to make up a few places.
so when we after this, the color sails go around the mark, we should cut back and try to find Tufts and boat 4 in the green sails and
6.
17. Tulane able to squeak around Mark 1 there in first place.
And
Building off of a co-ed national championship yesterday, or 2 days ago, sorry, pardon me.
right behind we have boat 5, which is the Yale Bulldogs, currently off of a team racing women's national championship and a team racing open national championship. So looking to pursue the women's fleet racing championship. And right behind we have boat 4 of the Roger Williams Hawks.
Oh, so the fleets are getting a little tangled up here. This in the green, angry green wave sails, they're finishing right here to finish and close out race 13B for the Western semifinals.
And you can hear the UVM Catamounts celebrating downstairs. They just won this race, and I'm sure everyone on that team is super excited. And right behind is the Hobart Williams Smith Statesman in second place. They've done all they can to try and secure a nationals berth. But right behind that is 17 for St. Mary's. So Hobart has not been able to close the gap, and St. Mary's remains in 9th place.
So St. Mary's clinches their trip to the nationals.
Exactly.
I'm sure Coach Warbo sitting behind us is very excited about that.
All right, so what's our lineup looking like going into finals right now?
So for the Western semifinals, we have these teams continuing on to the Nationals. In first place, Harvard Crimson. Second place, Stanford Cardinal. Third place, Brown Bears. Fourth place, Jacksonville Finns. Fifth place, MIT Engineers. Sixth place, Dartmouth Big Green. Seventh place, Georgetown Hoyas. Eighth place, Charleston Cougars. And ninth place, St. Mary's Seahawks. Now focusing on the last race of the day that's continuing right now on your screen. This is the Eastern Semifinals, race 13B, the last race of the day, the last race of the semifinals, and it's all coming down to... Uh-oh, the scores just disappeared on me. It's all coming down to the battle between USF and Tufts.
So right now, this is the final race of the Eastern semifinals. We're looking for South Florida Bulls in 12 and the Tufts Jumbos in boat 6.
Yeah, it looks like the Jumbos have a pretty decent lead on the Bulls right now.
How many points
At
is
least
that?
in the standings. I'm not sure
15?
about the race. Yeah, it's going to be pretty hard for them to jump in front of them here.
So if you're leading right now and you're the Bulls, I might have to turn around and start coming at them on starboard, try to get a foul there. But I don't think we'll see that happening. It looks like the Tufts have it. Tufts Jumbos have it pretty safe right now.
What are the boat numbers again that we're looking at here?
So once again, we're looking for the South Florida Bulls in boat 12 and the Tufts Jumbos in boat 6.
And so just to read out what the scores are here for the women's Eastern semifinals. In first place, we have Yale, currently tied actually with BC with 108 points. Third place is Cornell. Fourth place is the Navy Midshipmen. Fifth place is the Tulane Green Wave. Sixth place is the Bowdoin Polar Bears. Seventh is the Pennsylvania Quakers. Eighth is the Coast Guard Bears. Ninth is the Tufts Jumbos. 10th is the South Florida Bulls. Followed by in 11th, North Carolina State. Then Boston University in 12th. 13th is Old Dominion. 14th is Roger Williams. Tied for 15th is Northeastern and Northwestern. And 17th is UCLA. And 18th is New York Maritime. So it's actually kind of interesting up here. Not only are we looking at who is going to make the final 9 here after this last race, but also who's going to win this regatta. Because they are currently tied going into this race.
Well,
so between Yale and BC.
Right now we have the Western Conference sailing in, and there's some cheers from land. Some people are celebrating, and some are it's the end of their season, and it's a really tough feeling to have. But those who are not at the end of their season are currently racing right now to decide. And right now we're looking at Tufts in boat number 6. And we have South Florida in boat number 12, and I think the Tufts Jumbos are safe and making it into the finals. And
and so another thing to pay attention to is BC in boat 14 and Yale in boat 5. Whoever beats who in this race is going to actually win this semifinal championship.
Yep, and the semifinals can be an indicator of who's going to do well at finals, but also anything can happen, and a team that qualifies in that 9th place spot can come in and win the regatta. It's definitely happened before.
Yeah, the goal of these semifinals things, if you're a competitor, is just to qualify your team.
Exactly.
You just really got to make sure you qualify.
And depending on some of the teams, some teams rest their starters for semis if they feel like they have the depth to do it with their second or their third string sailors. So curious to see if anybody's taking it easy. Some sailors have been here over a week for team race, and then some of these women have sailed in the open semis and the open finals, And now, we're getting to the end of the line, so I'm sure a lot of these sailors are really tired and probably looking for a bit of a break.
Yeah, this college nationals, the whole thing is quite a marathon between the team racing and the co-ed, and now the semifinals and then the finals. When I was sailing, the semifinals were on different weekends, and the Eastern and Western events were in separate places. But now the whole thing's all together. So how long have you been here, Mickey?
Oh man, well I've been here since this is a week today. Been here since last Tuesday.
A week, and you have 2 more days of national championship sailing, right? Well, this is the women's event, so you wouldn't be sailing in it, but
going home tonight.
There you go. All right.
I wish I could stay a little bit longer, but it's been a lot of fun to participate in the racing and to watch some really high-quality sailing.
Yeah, careful staying around in New Orleans for too long when you don't have anything important you're supposed to be doing. It'll get you sometimes.
Fair enough. Well, right now it looks like Yale Bulldogs are leading Boston College. Yale's in boat 5. It's a kind of gray sail, and Boston College is in boat 14, which is a green sail. So they're in about 10th or 12th position, 3, 6. They're in 12th position right now, and Yale is currently somewhere in the top 5.
There's 14 entering the left side of our screen right there. That would be BC, right?
Yes.
And I have not been able to see boat 5 right there, maybe winning the race. So looks like Yale is comfortably going to win this Eastern semifinal championship here.
So that's boat 5, the B division of Yale of Emma Coles and either Anisha Arcot or Ximena Escobar. Emma sailed with her sister Carmen in the women's 470 class for many years and came very, very, very close to qualifying for the Tokyo Olympics. So she's a very, very good sailor.
Yeah, and like we were talking about earlier, there have been 5 sailors sailing in B division for Yale at this event. It looks like 2 skippers and maybe 3
Two skippers and
3 crews. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, if you have the personnel to do a lot of rotations, I would recommend doing it because the heat and getting all these races off, up to 10 races a day, can really wear you down. Even here with, we have breaks. A and B division each get a 2-race break. It's still tough. And if you have personnel to sub in, I mean, I never want to get taken out, but if I
I don't think any sailor ever wants to get taken out, but the
coaches do the best thing to win the regatta. I understand.
Right. And to give those sailors credit, we had Mia Nicolosi, I think, races 1 through 6 skippering, and Emma Cowles skippering races 7 through 18, with Anisha Arcot crewing races 1 and 2 and 5 and 8. Ximena Escobar, like you just mentioned, in races 3 or 4, and Helena Ware in races 9 through 12.
So you'll see some teams with 5 or 6 or 7 sailors, and then some with just 2. There's a lot of smaller teams that, with the revamped format of this event, have gotten the chance to participate and come from far away. And it's really, really cool to see increased participation, especially on the women's side of college sailing. I think it's fantastic. All right, now we're watching Yale Bulldogs coming downwind in boat 5 on port tack, and I believe
Tulane Green Wave in 17, right?
Yep, Tulane Green Wave currently winning the race.
Looks like there's some more righty pressure coming towards boats 17 and 5, which Tulane's probably going to jibe in and reach towards the gate mark here.
Hey, you called it as you saw it, yeah.
No, they're going to wing, but they still jibed.
So now we're coming into the final bottom gate rounding of the regatta.
I can't see the gate marks. Oh, there they are. They're green, kind of hard to see from here.
Yep, looks like the right turn is higher as it's been all day. So it looks like Yale University has inside for that mark, and they're currently leading the race.
Well, this is a really good opportunity in the middle of the leg here where you can still split to one side or the other if you're going downwind to round the gate mark, either one you want to. And if it was me just looking at the wind on the water from this commentator's booth, I'd try to be taking a left-hand turn and staying in that pressure that's coming off the right-hand shoreline. It looks a little light on the left to me.
Yeah, there has been that big ready that's been coming in all day. But if you really did want that right gate, if I was 17, I'd be throwing my boom over right now and clearing them out on starboard tack to try and
Right, if
get
they
there.
wanted to go that way. I think Todd Fettis in the PRO here has that little right-hand turn mark set up higher on purpose because generally it's, the wind's been coming out of the right a lot of the times. And the best race committees do that kind of stuff where what side of the course is favored. And so they'll skew the starting line or skew the gates. And as a tactician on other pro sailing teams, that really annoys me a lot of the time. But
Yeah, fair
it
enough.
also gives you an option, it gives you options. So it's nice work out there, Todd.
Yep. Well, they've been doing top-notch race committee all weekend, and
Look, they're both opting to take a right-hand turn here.
Yep. Well, if you have the ability to take that right-hand turn, and you're leading, then you can tack and go wherever it is you want. But yeah, shout out to the entire two-lane team for running a great regatta.
Shout out to the production crew and staff here. This is a really great thing they have going on here. I mean, wow, it's been really freaking cool to be a part of this. I actually just jumped in late last night. I was asked to do it, and I showed up, and they've been incredibly professional helping us along the way. I am a total neophyte when it comes to commentating on any kind of level like this. I had some help from my buddy Brooks Clark, who is my college crew at Charleston, who does this kind of stuff for a living now in professional sports, and I think he was here for the team racing. But what a top level production this is. It's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, I was really impressed by what I saw coming into the production room. They've got a bunch of screens, all kinds of cameras. It is really, really professional, and I'm really happy to be here standing in the color commentary rotation. I also kind of accidentally came into this, and I'm having a really great time.
Me too.
And thank you for guiding me along, Jackson. I really
Man, I
appreciate
think
it.
you're holding the team up right now, man.
Thank you, man.
But I think later on in the week, we're going to be joined by some other female sailors. Most of them, I believe, have been focusing on sailing this event. But we should be having some more female commentators to come in on the female female college nationals. So don't want y'all to think that we're skewed one way towards the male commentator side. But stay tuned for the rest of the week, and we will certainly have the perspective of the sailors that were out on the water today and yesterday, and maybe even some interviews. We'll see.
It was too windy to fly the drone safely, so that's why we're not flying right now.
Gotcha.
Fair enough. So right now we have Yale Bulldogs still leading the race in boat 5. And in boat 4, Roger Williams Hawks are close behind, as well as boat 3, the UPenn Quakers, who are on starboard tack in the pink sail right now. The chat looks interesting.
I don't know what this means. Oh. Boat 16's really hitting that left side of the course pretty hard all by themselves. It looks like there might be a breeze line coming from over there too, or maybe it's already past them. It's kind of hard to tell.
Yep, that's boat 16, the Bowdoin Polar Bears. That is Elizabeth Kaplan, someone who I've had the pleasure to race against in the International 420, who's a junior as well, or rising senior, and Hattie Slayton, who's also a rising senior, coached by Frank Pizzo and Corinna Radke, really top-notch coaching staff up there at Bowdoin College.
Yale's sailing this race really nicely here.
Yeah, I think they still are holding on to that lead.
In boat 5. Yeah, no, they've sailed a really nice race. Let's see what... Yeah, the score line for the B Division Yale team has been very solid. All single digits since race 4, except for race 12. They had a 14. But that's pretty tough to do. So... They've been holding on to this one pretty nicely,
Yep,
and they continue to extend. So
and Yale's had a really great year. They just had the Open College Sailor of the Year, Sean Harvey.
All right.
And they just have an all-around super deep team, and they're showing it here at Women's Nationals.
Yeah, Zach Leonard, the head coach there, does a really great job. I think he has Thomas Barrows working with them too, who I grew up sailing opties against all the way through college sailing and professional sailing and all kinds of stuff. So. They've definitely got a wealth of knowledge coaching that team and been around college sailing for quite a bit.
Absolutely. So coming home right now, we got boat 5 for Yale, followed by boat 17, and is that boat 16?
That is boat 16.
So 17 is the home team, Tulane Green Wave, followed by the Polar Bears of Bowdoin, and then
Roger Williams Hawks in boat 4. I
then
believe.
yep, boat 4 is Roger. Boat 1 is Navy Midshipmen. Behind them is boat 7, BU Terriers, Raw Buds. 6 is the Tufts Jumbos, and there's a bit of congestion behind that.
That's the knife fight that you see in college sailing. The first few boats are usually free and clear to kind of rich get richer situation, and then you have the knife fight.
Exactly, and
where
that's
it's all inches.
That's how those lead boats build the gap.
Right.
There's in the top 3 or top 5, there's a lot of cooperation early on, and then it gets more and more intense as the race goes on.
Yep. And it looks like the Jumbos are going to hold on to 9th place finish overall with the results in this race. They are in boat 6 here.
So congratulations to the Jumbos, and congratulations to the Yale Bulldogs for winning the semifinal regatta.
Yep. Jumbos hold on to 9th. South Florida is just on the outside looking in 10th.
BC Eagles just crossed the line, followed by UPenn.
Well, thanks if y'all have been watching at home or at your office or wherever. Thank y'all for tuning in. It's been fun commentating. It's been great to have some current college sailors join me up here in the booth. Parker Purrington, and Mickey Munns. We also had Jordan Bruce, but unfortunately the time ran out a little bit. Maybe he'll join us tomorrow for a little bit. Really good. Thanks to a great team for stepping up at the last minute here and pulling this off. It's been a lot of fun. Those are your scores. This is the last race. The final boats are crossing the finish line. There's one more boat, boat 10. And I imagine a lot of these sailors are really tired. They're going to go eat as much pasta as they can tonight, carb up, and look at the forecast for tomorrow, have a little debrief with their team, go to bed, and either go home or
Come
back
back
tomorrow. So hopefully we'll see y'all here tomorrow.
Thank you guys for having me, and take care. If you want to hear more from me, follow me on YouTube at my first name and my last name, Mickey Munns. I talk about sailing, college sailing, and everything to do with sailing. So thanks for having me, guys.
There you go, Mickey. You got a voice for radio.
I do my
Face
best.
for it, too. I'm kidding.
You too, man. Thank you.
All right. Thank y'all. See you tomorrow.